All righty there, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe we are live and in color. Let me check this out here one time, and let's see what we got going over here. Yep, there we are. We are live. There we go. So, hello to everybody tuning in. If you're just jumping in the live stream here, I'll wait for a few more minutes, get things started over here. It's my first time back in a little while. What we're gonna cover today? We're gonna cover some of those things by Marc Lamont Hill. Some of the questions that he had. Of course, we're gonna talk about the R. Kelly trial. We're gonna talk about a whole lot of dare I use the word foolery, whatever that's been going over in the YouTube streets, folks. Again, been busted and disgusted, but still they want to claim. I tell you what, man, as I've been nursing myself back to health here, I've been just kind of watching what folks been doing and what folks been saying about what's been going on in the YouTube streets, what's going on here around in this particular broadcast or this particular stream and this particular stream. And one thing I have come to notice, folks, if it's not some drama going on in a particular stream, a lot of folks don't come around. I hate to say it, but most of us black folks, it seems that where the drama is, whatever stream that's full of drama, that's where the black folks are at. And I got to point it out, it's not dare I say, it's not the older generation of black folks. It's these so-called 35 to 45-year-old folks, because that's the general consensus. What I'm seeing is there's these folks, these men and these women that are about that age that get on these live streams and they act like they know each other. Well, some of them do of that, I'm sure. But for the most part, the majority of these folks don't know each other, but they offering plane tickets to beat each other up, doing all kind of crazy shit, all in the name of, I guess, dare I say, hit that link, send me that money, wherever the drama is, that's where the most at. And folks, if you don't believe me, check it out for yourself. Just go sit in some of these streams anonymously, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It is absolutely amazing what we talk about. When I say we as a collective, I'm talking about black people. What we talk about, usually it's about each other. Dudes threatening women. I was listening to a stream the other day to where just because a dude said that a black woman that was on the panel was cute, it erupted into a damn near gang war. Straight square biz. I'm going to play it for you a little bit later on. And it's the usual suspects. That's the bad thing about it. The usual damn suspects. These niggas right here. That's right. I'm going to use that word a few times this during this particular broadcast, as people say, well, you shouldn't use the N word. Well, don't be one. I won't call you one. I'll have no reason to use it. If you want to obliterate that particular word from the vocabulary or for the vernacular of someone like me, then stop being one. What you mean stop being one? What? Stop being a nigga. I won't call you one. That's how I look at it. Stop lying. Yeah, I mean, you get, just because you get on YouTube and think that you get in a position of, well, I got a few folks listening to me, that you can put anything out there, that's dangerous. Charisma is a dangerous damn element when you use it incorrectly. Onto the other side of things, in mainstream, we got folks like Larry Elders, and also we got I don't know if you folks are familiar with Marc Lamont Hill. But this guy actually did a piece and said that Dylan Ruth shouldn't receive the death penalty because this country is all well and willing and too ready to kill its citizens in the name of a bad thing. How much more grosser can you get than to go into a church, worship with some people, and then turn around and shoot them? Hey, big sister, you over there on Facebook? Thank you. How much more can you do to deserve the death penalty? I'm not saying that the death penalty is right, wrong, or indifferent, but guess what? At some point in time, some of us make a conscious decision to whether we're going to kill somebody or not. Dylan Ruth made a conscious decision, and they said the reason why he said that he shouldn't be afforded a death penalty because he had an inadequate defense. What defense does he have? What could anyone go up in front of a judge and say, spare this man's life because he, in the eyes of us down here, he is not a redeemable person. Maybe that's not up to me for his redemption. That's up to the higher power, the man upstairs, God, Buddha, whatever you decide to call him, Jehovah, Yeshua, whatever you decide to call him. That's where he should be looking for redemption for. On this earth, he gave that up when he went into that church and killed those 9 people. Did anyone say, let's give the folks that flew those planes into 9/11, into those buildings? Did anyone say that they should be, they got redemption inside of them? A murder is a murder, no matter the number. Say what you want to. Dylan Ruth is getting what he deserves. Eye for an eye. If you believe in the Bible, that's what it says. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Tell me I'm lying. Because that's what it says. But Marc Lamont Hill, all skin folk ain't kin folk. He decided to get on this platform and break out his pom-poms for Dylan Ruth. Dangerous, these type of folks, people. Dangerous, these type of folks. The Marc Lamont Hills of the world, the Larry Elders of the world, the Candace Owenses of the world. These are dangerous. These are the folks that are dangerous to our way of living, to us as black people. These are the dangerous people. These are the enemies that are within. Larry Elders saying that he would rather have a George Zimmerman in his neighborhood versus a Trayvon Martin. Well, let me ask Larry Elders something. If you thought by any stretch of the imagination, let's just say that you were just an average common black man in the United States of America, got pulled over by a car, by the cop. No one knew you. You didn't run for public office. You was just a 9-to-5 kind of guy. Next thing you know, you pop up in the news because the police roughed you up and they thought they got away with it. But someone had took a picture. Someone that was filming the whole thing and showed that you wasn't resisting. Now you're all beat up and bruised up. And it was your word against the cop until this video surfaced showing the cops doing wrong. All based on the color of your skin. What did that happen to your child or your son or your daughter? Would you be so quick to say you would rather have a George Zimmerman in your neighborhood? Because let's think about George Zimmerman for a second. The guy, again, that Larry Elders is defending. Said, bottom line to this, if George Zimmerman had stayed in his car like he was supposed to, like that 911 dispatch operator told him, Trayvon Martin would still be alive today. There's no getting around that. No matter what happened after he got out of that truck, or out of that car, or whatever vehicle he was driving, George Zimmerman became the aggressor. George Zimmerman followed this kid. George Zimmerman got out of his truck simply because, why? Because he thought his privilege of being around policemen afforded him that. Because you heard what he said. These black people, they always get away with it. That's called a bias. He already had it in for anyone that looks like somebody like me or you, if you are of the darker hue. Whether you're light skinned or dark skinned or in the middle. He got out of his truck and he followed Trayvon Martin so much that he followed him so that at one point in time, I guess somebody was running. Maybe it was Trayvon running away from George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman cut up to him because he knew the outlying surrounding area of those apartments better than Trayvon, because let's face it, Trayvon didn't live there. He was visiting his dad. George Zimmerman followed this kid and followed him and tackled him. And that's where the scream goes. That's not a grown man scream. That is a child screaming that someone is chasing him. But Larry Elders would get up on national TV and say, hey, I'd rather have a George Zimmerman in my neighborhood than a Trayvon Martin. Because we all know what Trayvon Martin represented. Now, I've been listening to a whole lot of these streams, and not too many of them talk about this type of content. But if you go on to these other content creators that are not our color, they're talking about it. They're out there talking about why is the black people getting shot down in the street? Why are there so many black men getting locked up? Someone asked a question. You talking about you run the manosphere, you're this, you're that in the manosphere. Someone asked a question. What has the manosphere done to help anyone? Good question. The great relationship guru, Kevin Samuels, what has he done to help the black community? Other than create a whole lot of cannon fodder for this show and that show. Everybody's talking about Kevin Samuels. Everybody black, that is. I don't get black folks sometimes, the people that you choose to put up in front, especially in these YouTube streets, when there's so much more. There's so much more that we could be talking about. Like the enemies within. That's what we want to expose. Like those so-called relationship gurus, those six-figure niggas who talking about they sit on YouTube for a couple of hours a day, and basically they're telling you they draining you and your money on some bullshit. But you don't hear me though. Got a 9-hour stream of argument. You don't believe me? Go check it out for yourself. Got a 4-hour stream of women bashing, black women bashing, that is. Got a 2.5-hour stream of black man bashing. That's right, I'm talking about Cynthia G. She good for that. Go over to her stream. And if you see if I'm wrong. The worst thing on the planet to Cynthia G is a black man. There's no difference between what I see over there. There's no difference in what I see over there in the manosphere when they talk about black women and what I see over in that channel and some of the other ones. It's not much of a difference. It really isn't. Well, let's get to our first clip of the day, because I was kind of drifting off there, trying to get away from, because sometimes when I go over to these channels and I hear some of the garbage that comes out of some of these folks' mouth, it really shakes me to a core. Again, I was on another panel the other day, and just because I pointed out a situation about another content creator, all of a sudden, I'm gonna call his name out. The dude named Slick Talk. It says all right there, huh? Slick Talk. And what is this business of you men on YouTube worried about whether you see another man's face or not? I'm in radio. How often do you see the radio disc jockey? Cam up for what? What is the purpose of me camming up? You can't hear me? You got to see my lips moving in order to hear me? Is that it? Or are you looking for something maybe that you could pinpoint? Maybe I have a picture on the wall somewhere, or maybe I have a lazy eye in your opinion or something like that, because you guys will go to the point of talking about folks that stutter. That's another thing that I was listening to the other day. It is absolutely amazing to me what you folks do to each other in these YouTube streets, doxing each other's children, all for the dollar bill. I'm not saying all the streams, of course, not all the streams, because there's some of the streams that are quite educational, and even if there are some of the streams that are confrontational, they are confrontational in a grown-up way. They don't talk over each other. They don't scream at the top of their lungs at each other. They agree to disagree. Well, I don't understand what you say. Well, let me explain it to you. Sure, go right ahead. Those are the kinds of some of these panels. That's what they have. But there's other panels. Good Lord. Well, anyway, let me my first clip of the day, folks. And the first clip I want you to listen to again is Marc Lamont Hill saying that Dylan Roof. Let me try and pull it up here, folks. I'm sorry. Do one thing at a time. It's been a while since I've done this, so yeah, bear with me. Oh, here we go. Okay. I want to share. I want to go grab the video file. Yeah, I forgot how to do all this, Sometimes out of practice, you forget. Sorry. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, folks, this first one is Marc Lamont Hill. And he's given his pathetic, if you ask me, his pathetic reasons to why. Hey, Shar, how you doing? He's given his pathetic reasons as to why Dylan Roof should not receive the death penalty. And we'll let it play its entirety and through its entirety. If it scrabbles, it's the internet and it's not the video. So here we go, folks. Here's Marc Lamont Hill.
South Carolina, the death sentence for a man who went inside Mother Emanuel AME Church back in 2015, shooting and killing 9 people there, is being upheld. Dylan Roof challenged his sentencing in the U.S. 4th District Court of Appeals. In 2017, Dylan Roof was the first person in the U.S. sentenced to death for federal hate crime. Roof's attorneys argued that he was wrongfully allowed to represent himself and that he suffered from mental health issues that were not revealed to the jury. Rejecting his appeal, the court recounted how he targeted Mother Emanuel as a historically black congregation. He joined a Bible study with its members for over 45 minutes, and while they prayed, he took out his gun and began shooting. Dylan remains on death row in Indiana. All right, family, it is time for an unpopular opinion. Dylan Roof should not be given the death penalty. I know people are going to say, why would you say such a thing? Dylan Roof is a monster. They're going to say he walked into a church and killed all those saints. He prayed with them. He did Bible study with them. And when their heads were down praising the Lord, he killed them. He is a white supremacist who targeted black people. How could you say he doesn't deserve the death penalty? Well, that's exactly why he doesn't deserve the death penalty, because this death penalty right now is being used to normalize it. Of course, you take the biggest monster in the world. You take somebody whose guilt is unquestioned. You take somebody who nobody likes in their right mind. You take somebody who did one of the most awful things we've ever seen or heard. And then you give him the death penalty and everybody says, okay, fine. So there are cases where the death penalty works. And then guess what happens? The death penalty is then used not just for the Dylan Roofs of the world, not just for the Boston Marathon bombers. It's far more often going to be used against black and brown people. We cannot fall victim to the game. The death penalty has become increasingly unpopular, but we can't let moments like this become the moment where we pivot back to becoming a nation that kills its citizens. The death penalty, it doesn't work. It doesn't make people more likely to put down their guns and not murder somebody. It doesn't make somebody less likely to kill somebody. The death penalty does not dissuade people from murder. In fact, in states where there is the death penalty, murder rates are often higher. It doesn't work. It doesn't do what y'all say it's supposed to do. We get it wrong a lot. If you look at the number of people who have been wrongfully killed, if you look at the people who have been murdered on death row by the state, and they didn't do it, if you look at the people who've been exonerated by DNA, if you look at the people who we later find out somebody lied on them, we don't have the science or the technology to kill people. And beyond that, we don't have the moral authority to kill our own citizens. No nation built on settler colonialism, no nation that enslaved African people, no nation that denied chunks of its citizenry the right to vote, no nation that continues to lie, continues to kill, that could conduct the Tuskegee experiment, no nation that has done the evil of the United States or Germany or France or any of these other nations has the ability to do a death penalty. So yeah, you can be happy that Dylan Roof is going to die. That might be how you feel, but that ain't the right answer. Some of y'all are going to say, yeah, if that was your family in that church, if you was in AME church, if you was in Emmanuel, you'd feel differently. You're right. I might feel different if my mama or my daddy or my sister or my brother or my friend was killed in that church. You're absolutely right. I might want to kill him too. But I don't make my best decisions when I'm enraged. I don't make my most rational decisions when someone's harmed somebody I love. A position of rage is not the position from which we make public policy. A position of anger and pain and hurt is not when we make collective decisions about how we treat people. Right now is an opportunity for us to show our moral authority, not with a whodunit, not with a we don't know what happened, but with a surefire slam dunk murdering monster like Dylan Roof. We have the opportunity to say, no, we are not going to kill him, not because we give a damn about Dylan Roof, but because we care about who we want to be as a country and as a people. That's my unpopular opinion. Everybody, I want you to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. So make sure you go to our BNC Twitter and Instagram pages, BNC.
All right, you want us to join in the conversation, so I'm going to join in the conversation. That was absolute, utter bullshit. You damn right. If you ask me, if you don't have the death penalty, what deters people? What deters people to continue to do things, hideous things like Dylan Roof did? Remember, at one point in time, the United States banned the death penalty. So we put everybody on pretty much on death row, and we gave them life in prison. If you had a death sentence at some point in time, the whole country, everybody was given a reprieve. If you was in jail and you was on death row, you was given a reprieve. Some of those folks now are still living behind that. Some of those folks are now, they've been wards of the states for how long? We've been taking care of them for how long? You can't tell me that you can justify anyone like Dylan Roof that don't deserve the death penalty, because he does. No one deserves it. He does. Why these folks were praying with their heads down after you prayed with them, and they say, well, he was mentally unstable. No, he wasn't, because listen, this guy, if you go to his different his webpage and the different things about him, and there's a documentary on PBS, look for it yourself. It shows Dylan Roof and everything that he did a week prior to going to that church. He knew exactly what he was doing. A man that's mentally ill will not drive from one part of the country to another. He will not visit all these different white supremacist sites. He wanted to be a martyr. He knew exactly what he was doing. He pretty much labeled that church as his target point. He was hunting. He was absolutely hunting. But then you got this just because this Marc Lamont Hill, just because he got, how do I say, just because he has a platform, we got a whole lot of people that'll sympathize with that and say, you know what? Yeah, he right. Yeah, he right. We shouldn't. We shouldn't give him the death penalty. It's not about the country right now. It's about this one person. It's about this one monster. If you want to advocate for the death penalty, go find some of these folks that's on these innocence projects. Some of these black folks that are on these innocence projects over there that are literally on death row on absolutely nothing. No DNA, no nothing. Why you ain't speak about them? Why you have all these all these folks that's been wrongfully killed or held on death row? Why you want to talk about Dylan Ruth? Explain that. Of all the black people that you could have chose, Marc Lamont Hill, why Dylan Ruth? Why you choose him? You know what? Because you wanted it, you wanted your 5 minutes in the sun. Well, I tell you what, even the sun shine on a dog ass, and if he holds it up high enough, and that's exactly what it is. The sun is shining on your dog ass right now. And that's not an unpopular opinion. Now I understand since you did this video, you've come down with some illness, but you know, people are not holding that against you. The well wishers are coming out the woodwork for you, as well they should. Now maybe when you get well, that'll bring you back, give you back a dose of reality of who has your back, where your bread is really buttered. Stop throwing black people up under the bus. Stop holding Dylan Ruth in such high regard. Get back and retract this damn statement. Go back and say, yeah, you know, I thought about it. And I listened to DJ Music Stream, and he was right. He went to all these different Confederate monuments, folks. Dylan Ruth did, before he did that dastardly deed in that church. He didn't live in Charleston. And the thing about it is, you know, again, Larry Elder's the same way. He talking about he's a lost kid in a bad environment. But you talk about Rachel Gentile like she was you know, an idiot, and she spoke 3 different languages. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Go back and find the clip on Larry Elders and how he tried to say that this chick was illiterate. This girl was illiterate. Sorry about calling her a chick. And he did all of that just based on her looks, folks, because she was a heavyset black woman, and she spoke, and she didn't speak the way he thought she should. So he automatically thought she was illiterate. And it took a man from another country, Pierce Morgan of all people, and I don't really like him, but to put Larry Elders in check. Where's all the black folks then? This cat recently was going for mayor of a major state, California. Think about this, folks. Think about it. What would have happened to black folks in California if he would have gotten to that position? Because he already thinks that most black folks are lazy, even though he is one. This is Larry Elders. This is these folks that are in our community making money off us. Why would this cat hold George Zimmerman in such high regard? What for? Because he's one of them. He's an agent of the state, folks. He is. Why would Marc Lamont Hill pick up all the people in the world to do an expose on? Why would it be Dylan Ruth? Of all the people that has received the death penalty, you could have not have picked a better candidate for it. But you defending him based on the history of the country. Well, there's a whole lot of history of this country you could have went and got at and left him alone. To be quite honest with you, I'm surprised that Dylan Ruth is still alive in any jail, anywhere. I really am. Because you saw what happened to Jeffrey Dahmer. Right, and you're exactly right, Shaw. You know, but the thing about it is, what Pierce was on him about was, you know, you saying this woman is illiterate and she's this, and although she might not speak with as you call it ebonics, the fact of the matter is this woman speaks three different languages. But here you are, a public figure, and you saying that you're so much better than her when educationally you're not already, because you only speak one and you're not doing that quite well. That's a white dude telling you this from another country. But you're absolutely right. If you go, if you hire someone and you feel it's not that they don't meet up to your qualifications based on what they put in front of you, it should have nothing to do with their looks. If she's a heavy set black woman and she can do the job, that's fine. You should never hire anyone on their looks. You keep hiring these pretty women all you want to, these pretty white women. But remember, that pretty white woman you so-called yourself was about to marry. She put you on blast talking about you was about to beat her up and pull a gun on her. Larry Elders, you was about to do an OJ on the motherfucker. You was about to get mad on your white chick. You got so mad you pulled out a gun on her. What would make you pull out a gun on a chick? Hmm? You thought that was never going to hit the light of day. You know, one thing I don't think you guys, you Republicans, I don't think y'all learned this from Donald Trump yet. You know, until he ran for president, all his little nasty deals and all that other stuff, we didn't really know about it too much. Right? Again, wanted her to submit, wanted to be Aunt Jemima. Put you a hoodie or put you one of them whatchamacallits on, and put a apron on, and go in the kitchen and cook us up some biscuits. But this is that thing that's that matter of fact. What I'm thinking about it, he wrote a movie or a documentary called Uncle Tom. First and foremost, I am getting tired of people calling Larry Elders, Jesse, whatever his name is, that I don't know, that freak of nature, Jesse, whatever he is. This dude sponsoring all white month. I forgot his name, Jesse. I forgot his name. Damn, I can't forget his last name. I can't think of his last name for sure. But Candace Owens, you got to stop calling these folks Uncle Tom, folks, because they're not Uncle Toms. For all of you who have ever read this book, Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, you know there's a protagonist and an antagonist in this particular movie. The protagonist, of course, and the protagonist is actually Uncle Tom. He is hell-bent on Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you, Shaw. Yeah, him. That good God, Jesse Lee. That says enough right there. And it sounds like he's a second hand in a Dukes of Hazzard episode, isn't it? Hey, Jesse Lee, come on over here, boy. Phew. But anyway, but you got to stop calling them Uncle Toms, because they are not. They are what we call Sambos. It was Sambo that kept his eye on the I don't want to call them slaves. And I guess I have to, and report back. He was the snitch. Hey, master, so and so doing this. You ain't heard it from me, but Sambo told on everybody. And of course, the main antagonist in this movie was We Sick Boss. What's his name? Simon Legree. And if you remember, there's so many cartoon characters based on some kind of variation of that name, Simon Legree. Simon Legree was the main guy in this. But now you think about it, I'm going to try to explain a little bit, but not going into the whole entire book. But towards the end of it, when Uncle Tom was told on by somebody told on him, which would have been, of course, Sambo. They summarily they killed Uncle Tom. But before he died, he said something to his murderers, the people that was killing him. It was so profound to them that right after they finished killing him, they converted to Christianity and vowed never to kill again. Sambo is not the hero. So if you're going to call Jesse Lee Peterson, if you're going to call Larry Elders, if you're going to call Candace Owens, the right name, call them Sambo and Sambet. Okay? Because that's what they are. Stop turning them into heroes. Because they're not heroes. They're not Uncle Toms. No, they're not. And if you don't believe me, go look it up for yourself. I think I'm pretty hip though. I think I'm pretty right on this though. I'm willing to bet a week's paycheck to anybody who find any different information that I just gave you about that. So stop calling these turncoats, these skin folk that ain't kinfolk, Uncle Toms, because they're not. Now I'm gonna start chopping off some damn fingers. Okay? I don't need to get rough with y'all, but I got to sometime. So do. And car going by right there. If I see who it is right now, it sounds like a sports car. Speaking of sports cars, folks, congratulations to people who buy cars and buy new vehicles. But let me just say something. This is not taking anything away from it because I'm gonna bounce around because I bumped in my head just now because of that. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and part of the show that I'm going to do today is we're going to visit the YouTube street. And there's some folks that's proud that because they bought a damn Camaro, a six-figure nigga, so to speak, that bought a Camaro. This six-figure nigga that's so-called that's above in his 40s. Do you know that's a young man's car? That's a 20 to 35-year-old kind of dude car. You know what I'm saying? They still out wild and loose. You 40, or you 40 something, you plus 40 plus. It's time. I'm not saying go buy a station wagon, but damn. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hoping somebody go find this dude Slick Talk. I know he around here somewhere on these YouTube streets. This dude, he always in a stream somewhere. It seems like all these different streams that I visit, he always in there arguing with somebody. So somebody please, if y'all know this dude, Slick Talk on the internet, on the YouTube streets, please go find him because I tell him DJ Music looking for him. I told him I wasn't hard to find. I want to talk to the young man. I'm going to pull about 3 layers of skin off his ass. I sure do. So if y'all know somebody named Slick Talk, please find him and direct them over here. For those of you that's in the clouds listening, scared to drop down, I ain't going to bite. And that dude said, I got time today. I got no work to do. I'm in rehab. Said I had to go to rehab. I got time today. That's right, y'all. I got time today. Somebody find Slick Talk. You see him, tell him music looking for him. Got a lullaby I want to sing to him. I'm a dollar and I got a nickel in the way. I've got a 5-cent piece in the way. What the hell wrong with this dude? He been on my mind all week, not in a good way. Because I try to be respectful to everybody. But this guy Slick Talk got up under my skin. So I got to let him know. You done picked the wrong nigga to fuck with. I ain't nice like Boss when I'm on the radio, folks. The different guy over there. Oh, yeah. Got a couple different personalities. Which one you won't see? When you find Slick Talk, you're going to see another one. So y'all bring him over here. But anyway, back to Lamont Hill and all the rest of these coons, because I'll call them coons. They say you shouldn't call them coons, but that's what they are. Not raccoons, coons. These are the folks that we got to get out of our midst, folks, because these are the folks that the white supremacists allow to talk for us and talk about us. You go over to Fox News every day. You got some black person over there that's willing to put the black race up under the bus. They say ain't no such thing as a black race. Damn all of that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. No such thing as the Mexican race. Stop all of that shit. People always want to be so politically correct all the time. What I can't stand is these so-called people that think they know everything, that want to try and correct you on everything you say and do. Well, this is this, this is that. No, it ain't like this. Y'all know what we're talking about from time to time. But that's how these arguments spark here. Another dude came in there into this particular clip that we're going to play later on towards the end of the show, because I like to end off with when they run into them YouTube streets. He actually said that a young lady that was on the panel with him said that she was cute. Another dude that was in the clouds or down in the chat room said he was simping because he said the young lady looked good. But then he said he blamed the one particular dude that said that you started this whole thing, but actually you started it. And y'all know who I'm talking about, Angry Man. I don't understand why folks let him come on up onto your panel sometime. If y'all see him around sometime, tell him to come on over here too. I ain't scared. I ain't got nothing to lose over here over in these over in YouTube streets, folks. If they decide to flag my channel, or if these guys decide to report me or something like that, and YouTube strips away this channel, I can do this somewhere else. I have several other platforms to do this at. I do it on YouTube because it's nice to do it here. It's comfortable here. I like hanging around the folks here. So that's two folks I'm looking for today. I told you I got time today. TikTok, motherfucker, TikTok. Somebody find Angry Man too. I want to have a little talk with him too. I know he remember me because at one point in time I was on the stream and he was talking about, yeah, brother man, appreciate you, bro. I don't argue with women, so I'm gonna need me a woman that don't mind if you want to come up here and find Cynthia G and put her in her place too. Y'all black women, y'all need to go there and check her on that, man. Just like we go over here and check these brothers on some of the shit that they be coming out their mouth about you black women. Y'all black women need to go over there and check Cynthia G about some of that shit that's coming out of her mouth. Can't have it both ways, ladies. Y'all can't expect us to say stay out of ladies' business. When we go over to these panels, then you all want the cloud of chicken heads come pecking at you, talking about you over here in a bunch of women's spaces. But hell, y'all women good over there, and y'all just next thing you know, we're all singing in the same damn chorus. Cynthia G, right? She sure is right. Based on that last nigga I was dating, based on that last cat that did me wrong. Well, you know what? Sometimes all relationships don't work. Sometimes you stick your hand in that bag of all shit. Who among us hadn't done it? But I'm getting off the main course here. Let's get back to what we're talking about here. Up next, let me see what we're gonna do here. We're gonna go to Larry Elders. Okay. Now this dude Larry Elders here, folks. I gotta pull this one up here. I'm sorry, y'all just y'all talk amongst yourself for a minute. Let me go pull this Larry Elders clip here up here. All right. Now this dude Larry Elders, believe it or not, where is it? Where are we at? Here we go. First and foremost, let's take a listen to this. And we all know Dr. Rashad Ritchie over on TYT Networks. Love the dude, man, because he holds back. He is unapologetically black, folks. He holds no punches. Let's take a listen to this again. If it, as we say in the YouTube streets and there on StreamYard, if it borgs, folks, again, that's out of my control. I do apologize for that, but you'll get the gist of it while it's playing. All right, so here we go.
Conservative Larry Elder is now making a case for slave owners to have reparations while still dismissing descendants of the enslaved.
Yep, you heard it right. Larry Elders said this again. Come on, play it again, Dr. Richie. Y'all got to hear this from the start again. I want y'all to hear this one more time. Listen, black conservative, Yazabos, Sambo. He forgot to add those two words in. That's why I'm going to start it over. And put those two words in at the end. But when you hear black conservative, make sure you put in Yazabos and Sambo. Say it with me one time. Come on. Yazabos and Sambo. All right, let's go. Y'all got to practice it? All right, here we go.
Having reparations, here it is.
Right behind them.
By the way, when you mentioned that the UK was ahead of us, they were. Do you know that the slave owners were compensated? After they lost their quote-unquote property, the government compensated slave owners.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Because, like it or not, slavery was legal. And so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations, and not only just black people, but also the people whose quote property, close quote, was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that? Let's start that again. Come here. Let me put that on pause, and let's try this again. All right, there, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a little problem with this particular. Let's let it play through here. My apologies. See, it's freezing. Yeah, let me remove it. All right, let me remove it and I'll put it back again. Here we go. Let's try it again. All right, let me see. I got to share it again. Video file it again. My apologies there, ladies and gentlemen. I am sorry about all these different technicalities. Here we go.
Conservative Larry
Sambo.
Elder is now making a case for slave owners to have reparations while still dismissing descendants of the enslaved having reparations. Here it is.
Right behind them.
By the way, when you mentioned that the UK was ahead of us, they were. Do you know that the slave owners were compensated? After they lost their quote-unquote property, the government compensated slave owners.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Because, like it or not, slavery was legal. And so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations, and not only just black people, but also the people whose quote property, close quote, was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
Yeah, you ignorant SOB. I'm willing to have that conversation. Larry Elder is running for governor of California, by the way. So let's have that conversation, Larry. And by the way, stop ignoring my people who have been trying to get you on this program for a very long time. You continue to ignore. If you believe in your policies, bring your happy ass up into the bullpen and let's debate, period, okay? Run tell that. Now, let me go ahead and dissect where Larry Elder is 100% completely ignorant of what he says. So Larry thinks that people were property. I don't care what law you deem, what statute you are behind, or what constitution you believe in. People are people, not property, period, okay? Now, the argument of reparations is about repair. This country is for reparations. The United States of America is for reparations. We have given reparations to the Japanese, to Native Americans. We have given reparations to many that have been involved in experimentation against their will, without their knowledge. Reparations is something that this government has enacted, not only on the federal level, but also state and other local governments. That is the truth. Do the homework. Here's the other thing, Larry. While Larry is talking about the UK, you don't have to go to the UK to find that slave owners actually receive reparations. You can start right here in the good old United States of America. The irony is unreal. Before I go to that, let me give you context to this conversation. Larry Elder, 69 years of age, sat down with Candace Owens. Candace Owens is still the #1 black white supremacist. Larry Elder has not knocked her off that #1 spot yet. A conservative talk show host and author to share his views on the current state of race relations and why the black community, as he says, plays the victim card as reported by Insider. During their conversation, Elder and Owens, who are both, as you can tell, black, touched on the topics of reparations. Elder, however, argued that enslaved individuals were legally deemed property at the time. He noted that slave owners and their estates are owed compensation for the human property they lost following the end of the Civil War and the passage of the 13th Amendment, which partially abolished slavery after 1865. Now, let me take you back to the 13th Amendment, because slavery was not abolished by the 13th Amendment. As a matter of fact, slavery is still legal in the United States of America. Let's go to the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment, ratified in 1865, essentially abolished slavery. However, it also made it legal to exploit people as a punishment for crime. Here's the wording of the Constitution: neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as a punishment for crime. That means that slavery is legal if it is utilized under the pretext as a punishment for criminal activity. Okay? Now, let's go to the reparations that already happened for slave owners in the United States of America. Let me take you back to April 16th, 1862. Here it is, President Abraham Lincoln. He signed something emancipating people in Washington. But to ease the pain of slave owners, the District of Columbia Emancipation Act paid who? Slave owners, up to $300 for every person that was freed. Do the calculation, that equates to about $10,000 to $12,000 per person today. So literally, we had an act signed by a president to give reparations to slave owners in the United States of America. That is what we did. But we're still debating on if reparations is proper for descendants of slaves in this country. Larry Elder is making a ridiculous argument. I hope to have him on the show very soon to debate me in person. Attorney at law, Adrian, what are your thoughts here?
Well, folks, there you have it. So anytime, again, you hear somebody run up to you and say, well, the United States is not up for reparations, there you have it. The United States, as we know it right now, there's not only, that's one example. How many people knew that exactly existed? Not too many. That's what I'm saying, folks. You don't get this on, there's no way you can go to another channel and there's someone arguing about you got an ugly girlfriend, or you ain't got a nice car, that you're gonna get some information like this. This is the kind of information you have to seek out, or hopefully you go to some channels to where it's actually produced like this. I mean, this guy, Dr. Richie, he just looks like an average cat with a suit on. But when you go to his live streams, and if you look at, and you can pretty much tell, of course, a lot of people have their avatars pictures. It's not a whole lot of black people there. It's a lot of, he has a huge white following. He really does. And that's sad, especially when it's free on the internet. He does a segment called "I Wish It Karen Would." Sure does. He does it without a whole lot of cursing, whatever, and he also does other things to where he actually knows the law. Yeah, knows the law. And goes up against anybody at any time, anywhere. You guaranteed to get an education if you watch one of these podcasts or watch one of his live shows. I know I do. And you get to the point they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's some bullshit. because you can. There's power in words. It's another thing. I was over another a stream last week. Just happened to jump on because somebody said something about a particular post that was a backdrop that was used as somebody's avatar. And it was actually a black man hanging from a tree with either a white woman in a swing or a black woman in a swing as a silhouette. And some folks said they couldn't, you had no reason to find that offensive. As a black person, you had no reason to find that offensive. As a black person, you had every reason to find that offensive. What when the dude asked me, so why did it trigger you? Where you been? It's the freedom of speech. There's no, sometimes that it goes too, some folks go too far with that freedom of speech shit. Your rights end at the tip of your fingernail. That's as far as it goes. Stretch your arm out. That's the end of your rights. It don't go past the end of your fingertip. Once it gets past that line, you are now infringing on somebody else's space. Of course, there's neutral ground from time to time, but you got to think about that. You got to use. They said, "How am I offended by it?" What do you mean? I really couldn't justify an answer. What do you mean? And I mean, for 30 minutes, they explained to me why someone shouldn't be offended by this particular avatar. What the hell you mean? A black man swinging from a tree, and I should not say anything about it? Well, it's not your business. Then this dude also tried to equate me coming to his house. Think about this: if I came to your house today, and you invited me down to your, say, like we had a man cave, you had a man cave, and you invited me down to your man cave, and I came down there and you had a bunch of Ku Klux Klan things. It's not for me to tell you need to take this down. Only thing I can do about your house is leave, because that's your private space. But now, if it's now on YouTube, it is public. What I don't understand is how was YouTube didn't find that a direct thing, a violation of the community standards. I'm talking about, well, you shouldn't flag anybody's channel. Could you think of a better reason to flag somebody's channel? It's not. It's not the content. It's the damn picture. I've got flagged for having a girl with a bikini on, with a nipple showing. Anybody want to argue with that? I keep all emails. It was against their community standards. So you're absolutely right, Zero. It's easy to let that slip by, but I guarantee it. If that was dare I say it, something about harming somebody dare I use this thing, Char, thank you very much, palm color, that would have been struck down, and that channel would already been taken down. But that was the gist of this particular panel, to say, what's your sentiment on that? And so the guy was asking a legitimate question. So I did not understand all the pushback on the particular, especially the two guys. One of them is I'm looking for. His name is Slick Talk. If anybody know him, please tell him to come up, because I told him as soon as I went live again, I was going to seek him out, hoping that he was online. He usually hang out over there at Aunt T's stream. I would love to find him. I know he around somewhere. And think about this. I said, all right, brother. And he kept insisting, no, don't call me brother, because I ain't your brother. Nigga, I ain't your brother. So don't call me brother. You caping for the white man right now anyway. What you talking about? What you do for the community? Yeah. Nigga, what? And I just happened to say something about Angry Man, and he went off the handle like him and Angry Man just jumped up out the bed together. And what I don't understand is this old tactic of saying because someone has because someone stutters from time to time, or even worse, when they think they're calling somebody or disrespecting somebody by saying, nigga, you old. Thank you. That's what I'm supposed to do. I was born Was a young man. Hopefully I get old. Hopefully this nigga who said that get old. But I didn't. So again, I don't understand the mentality. And this other guy called himself the general, the dollar general. I told him that last time. It's obvious he remembers an argument that we had some 4 or 5 months ago. So he must have been really butthurt because he told me, yeah, I remember you saying something that if a black woman says something to you, man, you cannot make me argue with a woman. Now, have I? Yes, because have I had an argument with a woman? Of course. But not in no public domain, not at no restaurant. Hell no. Oh, wait a minute. This ain't the right place for that. Well, that's not. I'll just walk away. Not me. But when I get you to the house, it's a different story. I'm going to let you have it. Notice I said the house, you got to be living with me because if we ain't dating or we just hanging out, I'm not going to argue with you. See you later. Bye. So he argued with me talking about that's not the right way to do. You got to hold a woman accountable by walking away from him. I am holding her accountable. I'm letting her know I'm too grown for that. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not going to argue with you about nothing because what's it going to argument usually ends up into what? A fist fight. So you telling me I'm going to argue with you and keep arguing with you long enough until one of us decide to take a rock and sock and robot shot at each other. See what I'm saying? But that was the course of these two slick talk and the general's argument for 30, 45 minutes. This was what they came at me at. And the same thing with Angry Man the other night. He literally got upset at this dude called Big J Triple X because he said hello to a woman and said she looked nice. That was the premise of his argument. He was simping for the coochie. That's what he told him. That's what he came up on the panel to argue with him about for 45 minutes. I got at least 15 minutes of it. At least some of it you folks will hear a little bit later on. But then again, you hear this stuff like this right here. Larry Elders making a case for white people getting reparations, prize slave owners, which if he had done his homework, he would already known that the United States of America already did that. Just like they did for the Japanese. They already did that. They already paid the slave owners. And now think about some of these slave holders had excess of 300 to 400 slaves. So after the Civil War, was this family wealth based on what? See, you got to put 2 and 2 together. Y'all follow me? You put this puzzle together yet? So all this so-called family wealth, especially down here in Charleston, South Carolina, with all these big plantations, just think if the government had not bailed them out, if they not got given them $300 per head of slaves, there would be no Ashley plantation. There would be no Magnolia plantation. There would be no Drayton Hall plantation because they would not have the money to upkeep it. So the government bailed them out. And I think we had that in 2008 too, didn't we? With the big banks and the housing crisis. Didn't the government bail them out then? All those folks. Not only one of all those folks in 2008 in that housing and banking crisis, only one of them went to jail. One person went to jail. Look it up for yourself. So yeah, this country is up. This country is up for reparations. It'll give reparations to who it wants. Somebody said it best, and this next clip here, folks, we're going to listen to before we go into this next Larry Elders clip. Let me pull this next clip up for you. Hold on just a second. Again, I do apologize for the borging of the clips, but again, it's the internet, and I thought I'd move it to a better place to where I got a little better signal, but It's called struggle fight sometimes, so y'all bear with me, all right? Let me go grab this next clip. Y'all talk amongst yourself for a minute. Let me pull this next clip up here. Everybody all right? It's Saturday. It's about 1:38 here in Charleston, South Carolina. It's sunny outside, low powder puff clouds out there in the sky, hanging out a little bit, not too much. Let me find this next particular clip here. All right. Here it is. Now, I want you guys to listen to this palm colored dude. Listen very carefully. And then we'll go to our next Larry Elders clip. Here we go.
Let's look at America. We brought blacks into this country as slaves. We never intended them to be anything other than a slave. But they began to grow in number and in power, and eventually they fought their way to some freedom. So we became even more cruel, and to keep our black Americans down, we lynched. But yet they rose. So then we used the welfare system, the criminal justice system, to keep them down, to contain them, to destroy them. But yet they rose and they're rising. Then we built prisons and jails to hold them. Yet they rose. And so now we are doing exactly what the Pharaoh did at the end, sending out a decree, kill them. So until we admit that when we wrote this Constitution that all men are created equal, that we never intended to include our black brothers and sisters, our nation may end up facing exactly what the Egyptians faced when they refused to let God's people go. So I'm going to say this to my white fellow Americans, that the bloodshed that is on its way is not on the hands of our fellow black Americans, but is on our hands. We are the ones that are refusing to let God's people go. We are the ones that are refusing to acknowledge that we do not value our black brothers and sisters as equal individuals or equal Americans as us white men. And to my black brothers and sisters, the racial issues, as I've said, have been there from the very foundation. But why do we see it more? Because there's a shifting. See, us white men have been at the head since the foundation. But we've had a black president. And you know, we've done everything in our power to keep him from really changing things. Now we have another minority rising to the top, a white female. What does that say? Those of us who are white men who have been at the head are now starting to see and fear that we are going to become the tail. And we know what we've done to you. And so now we're fearful that you're going to do to us what we have done to you. But I will say this. I've lived in a black community for 23 years. I've never been treated the way that this country has treated my black Americans. So I call out my white Americans to say we better heed, repent, acknowledge, and change. Because if we don't, I just want to again say this. The bloodshed that we will experience is on our hands, not the hands of our fellow black Americans. I welcome your comments. I welcome your feedback. Hit me up on Facebook or go to my webpage at www.studio2911.org. Again, that's studio2911.org. I don't necessarily know the answer, except for us white Americans need to repent, acknowledge the lies that we have taught, acknowledge our value system of equality. It is not here, and it does not include our black brothers and sisters. And we need to change. and we need to change now. Thanks for your time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't, again, I need to, how could I follow up that by saying he's absolutely right. And I've been saying this for the longest time. And I'm glad I found a clip to someone to said that with someone that agrees with this sentiment. The Constitution of the United States of America was not written for black people. So again, we always talking about, well, let's go to the Constitution. What's the Constitution say? It does not include us. So if you want to change the United States of America fundamentally, you have to start at the source of what the United States calls itself being built on, and that is the Constitution itself. Just because those words say all men are created equal, again, you hear it for yourself. There's nothing about that Constitution that meant black people, because at some point in time, it didn't consider a black person as a complete person, as it so was to speak. Because if you look at it, I mean, honestly, how could you include a person that you considered property? Was a dog in the Constitution? Was the chickens in the Constitution? Okay, was the Constitution wrote to protect those things? Those were considered worldly goods, property, just as, dare I say, a slave was. So why would you include that person, that thing, as you call it, a slave, as you call it, property, a human being? Why would you include them in such a great document that's it's so-called a living, breathing document? Hey, Nick, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome. Good afternoon. So I got to ask, if you want to change it, you got to go back to the source. And the source of it being, we're talking about equal rights under the Constitution. We're never going to have that if it wasn't written for you. Let's think about it. I write a play, Romeo and Juliet, and I don't put Romeo in it. What good is it going to do? Make sense? And again, I also said, that's the biggest problem with some white folks, that day of reckoning. They were so worried about what they did to black people that we are so inherently evil, because that's what they've been taught, that we're going to turn the table on them and do what they did to us. We're going to do to them. And for all us religious, our folks that are religious, that like to lean on the Bible when it comes to things like this, well, it says, Moses said, we are as they say, we are those chosen people. We went into that desert for those 400 years or whatever. Well, if you look at the time clock, those 40 years was up in 2020. That time is up in 2020. I don't make this thing up. Look it up for yourself. Add it up. It's all about math. It's one thing I can't change. I can't change math. It is what it is. Now here's a white guy telling his own people that the blood that's shed will pale in comparison if we don't, as white people, change our ways. So he's also, not only is he predicting, but he's also giving you white folks a way out. The path doesn't have to be like this. If we change our ways, if we start treating our brothers, our black brothers and sisters, our brown brothers and sisters with respect and dignity, it's not too hard to do. That's one some of the easiest. That's really easy. I say at the end of my radio show, the grace of the day costs you absolutely nothing. Try it. See exactly what I'm saying. See if that person that you say it to either don't light up or say back right back to you. It is what it is. But yet, what we rather do, we rather get on the internet stream and talk about somebody's mama. We rather sit on the stream and talk about I made 6 figures. What a stuttering nigga know about making 6 figures? I'm breathing heavy. I need a fight. That's what I need. Let me go over to somebody's stream. I ain't got nothing else to do but talk about black women. I ain't got nothing else to do but talk about black men. and they ain't shit. I can't find no white person to talk nothing shit about. Ain't no white person committed no crime today. No, I can't talk about. Damn, let's talk. Let's have a subject on reparations. Let's go ahead and shoot this idea down to some white folks that the United States of America does not pay reparations. Go back to that Lincoln Act of 18 something, where the government of the United States of DC, in DC decided to pay all former slave holders $300 per slave head as compensation for their loss. Although we just fought a war, kicked their ass, so-called they say, the North kicked the South ass to end slavery, but yet, when does the loser, well, I guess so, I guess that's what boxing is based on, huh? You can get some money even though you got your ass kicked. You still can get you some money. Yeah, going in the boxing ring with Floyd Mayweather. That Floyd Mayweather beat me up a little bit, still get me a couple mil. And I guess that's what they're basing it on. Having a little coffee on the side. Again, but the dude is absolutely right. I mean, he's absolutely right about it. It's a day. It's going to be a day of reckoning. It may not be during my lifetime. My lifetime may not be during your lifetime. But sooner or later, the United States of America as a whole, as its white men as a whole, I can't even include white women in that, because if you look at the history of the United States of America itself and its white men, it's shit on white women too. Maybe that's the common bond between some black causes and white women, because if you look, they hijack everything. Hey, Jay Shine, what's going on, brother? How you living? But they hijack everything. But again, you have to think about it. That day of reckoning, it has to come. It has to be that part of, well, what do we do to, again, we always talk about, well, we don't want to give these guys reparations. We don't want to do that. But then you don't have an argument to say that that's not true anymore, because I just played it for you. No, excuse me, just for a second there. There we go. I'm back. I lost a little something. There we go. But again, you can't say that the United States doesn't pay reparations. And you can't. So Larry Elders has no argument when you hear him on these platforms talking about the slave owners should be getting paid reparations. These last two clips tied in together perfectly to negate whatever argument Larry Elders and Candace Owens had about reparations. It is a done deal. It is a done deal, and it can't be no $300. It has to be a whole lot more than that. It has to be. The government, the United States of American government, has to atone for what they have done to black people economically and physically and mentally. You have to, in order to be repaired, as they say, reparations. Larry Elders, maybe Rachel Gentile can teach you that too, or maybe Pierce Morgan or somebody else. And let's speaking of him, let's go to his next clip here. Y'all talk amongst yourself while I go and pull this next clip up again. I do apologize for if it slows down a little bit, but that's the internet, and you live by the sword, you die by the sword over there. Again, hello to everybody. No, I don't want to do that. I want to share that. No, wrong one. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me go grab another video file here. Here we go. I got a couple more things to talk about here, folks, but for right now, we're going to here we go. All right, this next clip comes from, we're going to shift things over here, and we're going to use the comedy hype. I don't know if any of you folks ever seen this on YouTube, but I follow a comedy hype news. A young lady, she happens to be from South Carolina, so it's a good thing to see us branch out a little bit like that. So this next clip, it's about D.L. Hughley. He went off on Larry Elders about the Trayvon Martin. situation. So y'all check this clip out here. Again, all skin folk and kin folks, watch. You gotta watch. You gotta watch what this guy's Larry Elders. I mean, it's not, and I'm not saying go watch everything he does, but you gotta pay attention to how we get thrown up under the bus by our own kind. You gotta pay attention to stuff like this, folks. All right.
Larry Elder appeared on CNN to have a discussion with political pundit Piers Morgan. On the program, Elder defended the shooting of Trayvon Martin by calling it an unfortunate incident. Elder said that people shouldn't be mad at George Zimmerman, but they should instead be mad at the minority or thug that was committing these crimes in the neighborhood. Today we have our company hype analyst, Capone, calling into the show to share his thoughts on D.L. Hughley labeling Elder a sellout to black people. But first, let's take a look.
The burglar bars are not on there because of George Zimmerman. They're on there because of the minority of thug in the community that's messing up everybody's image and reputation. This is why people profile. I used to work in the DA's office, Pierce. I'm telling you, it was a dog case, a reasonable doubt case. Nobody I know would have filed the case.
Yeah, well, we disagree, obviously, about that. I think it's completely wrong.
Obviously.
That George Zimmerman should get no punishment at all for killing an unarmed teenager.
He's got serious punishment. He can't go anywhere. Are you kidding? He's a marked man.
Well,
he's going to be sued civilly. He will never have a moment of peace. He killed somebody. Morally, he's got to deal with that, Pierce. He recognizes that.
I don't feel comfortable having somebody like George Zimmerman marching around as wannabe vigilante, armed with a gun, potentially killing my kids as they come home from a store with a bag of Skittles and a can of soda. No.
Now, there's definitely a lot to unplug, but D.L. Hughley is known for being outspoken and shared this clip on his social media with the caption, "How the old heads used to say, I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. This spineless shoe booty sellout is co-signing the cold-blooded murder of an innocent young black teenager who was walking home. Is this who you want running for the state of California?" Now, Capone, I'm going to come straight to you because I feel like there's so much to unpack here. And I was going to ask you if you agree with D.L. Hughley, but I just want to know your thoughts overall because that clip is very triggering, and what D.L. Hughley states is, you know, I feel like a lot of people's sentiment. So I just want to get, what are your thoughts when you first saw that?
Of course, I was very disturbed, but I'm not surprised. It's a bunch of people like him that and that's one of the reasons that we can't seem to climb above where we are. Because the minute that we get up, there'll be assholes like him that bring us down. He's good for racism. He's good for, you know, all of the things that we stand against. For him to even get up there, first of all, I don't even know why the subject has been brought up after all this time. He's so coonish that he don't even understand that they are actually putting him on a position to show how ignorant his ass is by bringing up such an old thing. And he still trying to make it to a point where I can't even express, because it brought such anger to hear such stupidity and how rude he was to the actual host of the show. And for him to like really try to make his point, which he had no point, is crazy. And as far as DL, yeah, I agree with him 100%, but I wish he would have used better words. I mean, I can't use the words I would like to use on this program, but DL could. He's an asshole. The dude is an asshole.
No, I definitely couldn't agree with you more. Hearing it and even watching it now just definitely stirs up something that it's just like, how you just ask, how could you say something like that, especially as a black man? You know, Larry did state that he would want George Zimmerman in his neighborhood. So my question to Larry would be, would you be okay if George Zimmerman was to look at your son or your daughter and kill them based off, you know, things that he thought of because of this, you know, thoughts that I think he said something about thugs and things like that in the neighborhood. It's their fault that he.
That's exactly right. This young lady is absolutely right. Let's say, Larry Elders, that you had a teenage son. Your teenage son decided to go out and buy a hoodie. And one day it was raining. He had this hoodie on. Don't want to get his hair wet or don't want to get soaking wet. So he pulls the hoodie over his head. In the meantime, somebody that's like George Zimmerman, not particularly George Zimmerman, drives by your son and says, hey, he looks like somebody that's about to do something illegal. Let me stop him. But in the meantime, this guy calls 911. 911 says, hey, don't get out your car. Let the police do what they do. Okay? But instead, you say, the person that's trailing your son says, you know what? These black people always get away with it. decides to follow your kid, get out of his car, chase your kid down, fight with your kid, and then shoot your kid, and then call us stand your ground. So basically, what I just said was, your kid had no justification to stand his ground against his attacker. Because isn't that what happened between George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin? They said George Zimmerman had the right to stand his ground, but Trayvon Martin didn't. Trayvon Martin should not be dead, Larry Elders, and he would not be dead if George Zimmerman would have stayed in his vehicle like he was told to. Now, hypothetical situation, your child would not be dead if that person had stayed into that vehicle like she was told to. Too many times, you folks like you, like Capone said, assholes like you will give these people and put these people on a pedestal. George Zimmerman should not be a free man walking around. George Zimmerman should be having a life sentence, at the least, because he hunted that kid. He chased that kid, and he murdered that kid, and he knew he was going to be able to get away with it. He knew he was. But you, on the other hand, you and other folks like you made a mockery of George Floyd. You made a mockery of Trayvon. You made a mockery of Tamir Rice, like a 12-year-old could defend himself against any grown man. Now imagine those incidents that I just spoke of. Those were your children, because they're not going to come out regardless because you were married to a white woman. They're not going to come out lily white, buddy. They're not going to come out with blonde hair and blue eyes. No, sir. It's going to be kinky. It's going to be sort of brown, off brownish, sandy brown. It's going to be something. Their skin might be light skin, but usually it's the father's features that are more dominant in its children, especially of the children of mixed races. So it's usually, if the father is a black male, the child tends to be a little bit more darker, or vice versa. If the father is a white male, the child tends to be a little bit more brighter. That's human nature. It's like if a black cat impregnates a gray cat, what color kittens they gonna have? I got 20 something out there in the yard to tell you. But it's some of the simplest things that, that again, I never went to any college or whatever, but again, I don't know why people always insist on that, because you went to Yale or Harvard or something like that, that puts you above any law, or make it, or just abandon common sense. Oh, he went to Yale, so let him commit murder. He went to Harvard, let him rob a bank. Or he graduated from an Ivy League school. Let him get on TV and say anything stupid that he wants to, and just throw his credential behind it. Black people will be all right with that. As long as he got some credentials, he can say what he want to say. Well, as you can see, you don't need credentials to be able to say what you want to say. No, all you need now is a cell phone and a YouTube account, and you can say what you want to say at any time, within reason, before they shut you down. You can't go out putting out immense information. That's one thing I'm glad YouTube did. It stopped all that. YouTube and Facebook did. It stopped all these people from putting out all this information. Let people decide for themselves to go and get this information about this COVID-19 variant and all these different things. It's not my place to talk about that, because there's people that are in that position to talk about that, to give you the pros and the cons for that. So to put out bad information about it, I'd be doing more harm than good. So just leave it alone sometime. If you're not the expert, if you're not a doctor, you're not the person that handles that, don't talk about it. If you're reporting the news, report it as it is. Don't offer up your opinion like Tucker Carlson. Remember, at one point in time, he was telling you if you had your kid walking around with the mask on, you need to be put in jail, and just walk up to the kid and rip the mask off. If that's not, if that's that not, that's not child. What do you call that? Idiots. Yeah. So let's get back to this comedy hype news here. But again, is Capone right so far? I would have to say so. Here we go.
Saw Trayvon Martin in that light. So I would ask Larry, if George Zimmerman was to see your son in Trayvon Martin's light, would you be okay with it and saying the same things? But Capone, people in the comments are agreeing with you as well, and I want to read some of those as we continue to move forward. Erica Alexander the Great says, whoa, self-hate is real. Viola Davis states, Malcolm X made the distinction between the house Negro and field Negro. This Negro is definitely in the house, but brother, it ain't your house. You are Trayvon. Lastly, another user says, Larry be trying too hard. Larry, I understand you want to pander. I mean, appeal to your audience. Nah, who I'm kidding. I meant pander. Anyway, you're trying to keep your bread buttered, but there's really no need to lean into this atrocity this way. That man killed a baby. Defending him is unconscionable, and you know it. And honestly, Capone, I couldn't agree more. It's just like how you even try to take, I don't even take up for someone that did commit murder. So it's very difficult to hear. But I do want to ask this. We know D.L. Hughley has spoken up a lot, especially when it deals with politics. So, Capone, I want to ask you, would you want to see D.L. Hughley run for some type of political office?
No, not at all.
Any reason for that?
Politicians, you can't show me one that's a good dude. And DL is a good dude. And I wouldn't want them to try to corrupt him. I love the fact that he has his opinions the way he has them, to try to run for the people, and then they turn against him and all of that other stuff that comes with these fake ass politicians. I can't see him. I think that he does a great job at doing what he does. He entertains well. He speaks his mind well. And I think that being in any type of office, they would kind of sugarcoat him. And I don't want to see that ever.
I didn't even think about it from that point of view. My first answer probably would have been yes, but like you said, because he is a voice for the people and he does take a stand. So I appreciate for you bringing in that perspective, because honestly, it's tough being a politician. It's tough being in those positions, and like you said, there's a lot of corruption that we don't see and that we do see. And unfortunately, you see people like Larry who wants to run for the state of governor, but I guess we'll see how things unfold. Capone, as always, I appreciate you calling in, giving your thoughts. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about D.L. Hughley labeling Larry Elder a sellout to black people?
Well, I know my thoughts about it. You damn right. Uncle Tom, folks, Sambo, Yassa Boss. That's it. That's what he does. That's where his butter. That's where his buttered his bread at. He totes the water for white supremacists. He does. Him and Candace Owens. That's what they do. That's what they're good at. They tote those buckets. They are those. As someone used it, I haven't heard this term used in such a long time, but they're goddamn bone scrubbers. The master told them to do anything. They'll scrub the chicken bones. They'll scrub the bones for the dogs or whatever. Whatever master tell them to do, they're going to do whatever it takes. Master tell them to go out there and find something on the rest of the slaves so he can kill a few of them. He'll go out there and do that. Sambo will go do that. And that's what Larry Elders does. Go out there and give me something to talk about on the 6 o'clock news, so I can put it on the news and vilify black folks once again this evening. And Larry, folks, as a matter of fact, why don't you help us and talk about it? And he does. So much so that he tried to make a documentary called, again, Uncle Tom, not doing his homework, not realizing he is not the hero. Part of it says that Obama was the worst thing that ever happened to the United States. What about those other 44, 45 presidents that became before and after him? They didn't have a hand in fucking this country up. Obama did all of this in 8 years. Here recently was the 100th anniversary celebration of another black town that was originally started. out there in Tulsa, somewhere around in that area. Y'all remember what I'm talking about. But anyway, when they talk about, again, Larry Elders and folks like that talk about blacks pulling themselves up by the bootstraps, when you do, you see what happens. They come in and white folks get jealous and they tear it down. And then you got black folks that will help them whitewash history. That will tell you that you shouldn't worry about slavery anymore because it's in such a distant past. But yet they'll talk about the Holocaust like it was last week, like it just happened last week. Well, no disrespect to all the people that lost people in the massacres over there in Germany, but we're talking about what happened in this country. We're talking about the thousands and millions of people that have lost their life due to a way of life that someone else wanted to place upon them. And I'm talking about slavery. If you go to Charleston, South Carolina, there's a road called Highway 61 that leads to most of the plantations. And you can tell this was one of those roads that was main travel because if you follow it, it goes from inland to sea, from sea to inland. It has the little different stops in between there. The plantations in between there. So I'm saying Highway 61 was probably one of the slave routes. So I would imagine if a slave did try to escape, this was one of the roads that they would use to try and find their way back to the sea, meaning Beaufort, South Carolina, or the ports of Charleston. But after you got there, where would you go? Remember, Robert Smalls figured it out. Stole their own signals, stole their boat. He figured it out. And there's not too many things in Beaufort, South Carolina that's named after one of the great guys that did something great as far as history is concerned. You know who Robert Smalls is. If you don't, go look him up, folks, and see what greatness he accomplished. But you don't have folks like Larry Elders and Candace Owens, Jesse Lee Peterson. You don't have them talking about things like that. Again, Jesse Lee Peterson helped to create a White Appreciation Month. He is the founder of that. And I gotta ask these folks, when you get up in the morning, what color what's the color that you see? Do you see yourself as a white person or do you see yourself as a black person? Because there's no way as a black person you could look in the mirror and say, yeah, today I'm gonna go out and shit on as many black people as I can. It's a friend of mine on Facebook that's doing a dissertation on how blacks were affected from capitalism, from colonialism to capitalism. Now, when you say affected, it's not how they were affected, it's how they are being affected. That is active. From colonialism to capitalism. We were left out then, and for the most part, we're being left out now. And as you can see, folks, this is, again, I'm going to pull off subject for a minute. As you can see, a lot of these people that are taking these PPP loans, now the government is going back and arresting them. Because they're using it, said that the business that you have was in violation. And you got this money under false pretenses. Now you got to go and serve some time. Prison industrial complex, folks, at its best again. Tell you, when there's a will, there's a way. Even during the pandemic, they will find a way to lock your ass up. So for those, heed my warning, folks, for all of you out there that got those PPP loans, and if you can't prove where that money, whatever you got that money for, and if you can't prove that's what it was being used for, you might look at going to jail. Somebody got to get paid. And for those of you also that been leaning on not paying your rent, that time is up too. That's just a public service announcement. Yeah. But anyway, like Larry Elders and some more of these folks, as you say, they're all over the place, folks. These just happen to be the prominent ones, Larry Elders and Candace Owens, because, again, like my man said, Larry Elders hadn't placed Candace Owens as the leader in Coonology, but he's getting up there. Let me go pull up this next clip. Y'all talk amongst yourself there for a minute. Let me go over here and pull up this next clip here. Let me see what this one going to be here. Hold on. All right, folks. I think we're just about, well, let me go pull up this last clip here. Here we go. Here we go. This is more Larry Elders right here. This goes a little bit more in more detail.
So rewarding, but can be extremely stressful when you start to consider what products to use. If that's you, then look no further. Locklicious is a Black-owned company that has created an all-natural product line for locked and loose natural crowns. The Locklicious team works hard to ensure that their products are free of parabens, phthalates, sulfates, PEG, synthetics, and other toxic chemicals you find in other products. Best of all, the products are lightweight and will not leave residue or cause buildup. Go to locklicious.com to start treating your crown like royalty.
This broadcast. Family, you all know that in war, the opposite side tends to use lookalikes. In order for the enemy to operate effectively without resistance, they plant folk that look like us amongst in our camp. Because if you recognize the enemy, you'll fight against the enemy. If you don't recognize the enemy, you will cooperate with the enemy. You will work with the enemy because you don't realize or recognize that that's who he is. With that being said, unfortunately, Black-looking people tend to be, the greatest resistance to Black liberation. Some of them knowingly, some of them unknowingly. In the case of one Marc Lamont Hill, Dr. Marc Lamont Hill, a professor.
I just wanted y'all to hear that particular part of it, and that holds true to exactly what I'm saying sometimes, and that's what it is in culmination of this whole presentation that I'm doing today. Sometimes it's not so much we hear this, don't have to, it's the white man that's keeping us down, this white man that's keeping it down. No, it's folks that look just like this guy right here, Lamont Hill. He looks educated, but again, charisma is a dangerous thing when it gets into the wrong hands. And those who look like us, folks, are not necessarily for us, and that's what this young lady is pointing out there. That you don't recognize the enemy if they look like you, talk like you, sound like you, walk like you. You don't recognize them. But if you was to throw a white man in the mix, automatically you would be suspicious of him. But if you put someone in the mix that looks like you, then you have no reason to think that they're going to do something against you. If you follow what I'm saying. In this case, that's what they did with Marc Lamont Hill. He came out as pro-Black. But in the last couple of major events in Black world, i.e. the Bill Cosby being released from prison, and this debacle he had with George Zimmerman. This is what I'm talking about. These are the folks that we have to be aware of. Was no reason for him to bring up, especially during this time. There's a whole lot more things that Marc Lamont Hill could have been talking about, but he chose to go back and open up an old wound. That's exactly what he chose to do. And then again, if he was talking about the death penalty and how it affected the United States of America, he could have definitely chose a better candidate, someone that's less deserving of it. But no, he decided to do an expose, as they call it, an op-ed on Dylann Roof. Picture that. So we're going to leave that just where it is. And where I say that, now this is going to lead into the next part of what we're going to get into. Of course, we all know that the R. Kelly verdict came down last week, and he was found guilty on all accounts. A lot of people saying that, well, no, well, he's not, hey there, Neek, how you doing, good sister? Good to see you. He's not really guilty. He was set up. No. I don't give a damn how much you like R. Kelly's music. He's guilty. He is guilty. Not only is R. Kelly guilty, his enablers are guilty, because you don't get away with something that long and be so prolific at it that you don't have people along the way helping you. And as you heard, I don't know if you've been following the news, they say R. Kelly is about to start telling, if I'm going down, there's a whole lot more other people going down. See, dirt like that you can't do by yourself, folks. You can't be an international star and a child molester and get away with it. Somebody have to help you. And as long as, I tell you what, and I'll say this to this day, as long as R. Kelly was paying that money, folks had nothing to say. As long as he was paying them dollars, got nothing to say. Because when I say R. Kelly is guilty, yes, he is. But the enablers are guilty, yes, they are. You know what? Because you don't take your daughter to a known pedophile's house and leave her there. Or you don't go to a place to where your teenage daughter's saying that I'm not, mom and dad, I'm not coming home. And all you do is throw rocks at the window, talk about, hey, come outside and talk to us. No, you call the police and say, hey, my daughter's in that house against her will. Right, wrong, or indifferent. The police still gonna knock on the door to investigate. But you didn't even do that because R. Kelly was willing to pay you folks for his dastardly deeds. He was willing to keep people on the payroll to keep quiet what he was doing. He was willing to pay people to supply him with young women, like it or not. Can you remove yourself from stepping in the name of love? Guarantee somebody probably playing it right. Well, I know that somebody's playing it right now tonight. I didn't mean to mess the song up, but y'all know what I'm saying. Step in the name of love. That song is always going to be played. Ignition is hot and fresh in the kitchen. Mama rolling that. It's always going to be played. But that does not excuse because he is a genius when it comes to music. That does not justify what he did. And the reason why R. Kelly probably didn't flee the country, and folks, if you don't know this, if you go back and look up a dude named Roman Polanski, that's why when you get accused of these crimes, you have to surrender your passport, because at that point in time, Roman Polanski, if you don't know the movie Helter Skelter, to give you a little bit of history, Roman Polanski was married to the woman Sharon Tate that was killed, that was murdered by the Manson family. Roman Polanski was also a prolific child molester, that he was charged with raping a 13-year-old, and instead of being facing and having his day in court, he decided to haul ass to a country to where he could not be extradited. And from that day forward, since they could not extradite Roman Polanski in the country that he's in, he will always be a wanted man when he comes back to the United States of America. So he hasn't come back. Is Roman Polanski still alive? I don't know. You have to check that out for yourself. But I know that's why when you get accused of some crimes, that you have to surrender your passport. Because some states, some countries that you go to, child molestation is not an extraditable offense. Believe that or not. So, do you think if R. Kelly would have been afforded the same opportunity to haul ass, would he have not done so? I think he would have. I think he would have pulled the Roman Polanski business. I think he would have left. Is R. Kelly guilty of molesting young women? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And is the people around him just as guilty for allowing it to happen? Yes, they are. There's some people that need to be held accountable for what R. Kelly was getting away with, because there's no way that you can tell me that traveling on these buses, being in these hotel rooms, being in close proximity to R. Kelly as you were, that you didn't know some of this activity was going on. You had to have known. You had to have known. You had to have fed that beast. And so let's pull up the first clip where they're talking about R. Kelly. And this one is talking about his wife. Yeah, I heard that, Shar. The mother, yeah, they was dropping their daughters off. But listen, let me tell you something. For those folks that, that say that, let me tell you something. I had 4 sisters. And if my mother or my father, when they dropped my sisters off to a event, they came back and they got my sisters. They didn't say, what time is the event over? What time's the session over? Or if they were, say, if they had like a play or something, they went to the play with them. They didn't leave them there. They didn't leave them at rehearsal. They was there with them. And a lot of mothers do that too. They don't leave their child there. I don't know this man to leave my child with you. No, you don't leave your child, especially you don't leave your child in the presence of someone, especially at 14 years old. You're impressionable at 14 years old. Let's face it. According to the statistics, most young women start feeling their wild oats at 13, 14 years old. They start feeling the changes in their body. Their body starts changing. They come into their cycle. Dare I say 13, 14, 15 years old. So along with coming with that cycle, again, I'm not a woman doctor. I'm not a psychoanalyst or none of that, but I'm just going based on what I know in the life that I lived. That, that's usually boys a little bit later. We come after it a little bit later in life, but now, it's not uncommon to walk up to a young lady and ask her, when did you start having sex? And she'll quickly tell you 15, 16 years old. But that doesn't excuse it. Especially if you're a grown man having sex with a 14-year-old. You know better. The 14-year-old doesn't. And a lot of people use that as an excuse. Well, she should have known better. Looked like she knew what she was doing. Come on, folks. Really? At 14 years old, really? Come on. Again, where were the parents? If the parents would have been in the studio with her, would have gotten that far. If you think your child has that much talent, you're not going to tell me, well, drop your kid off and come back 7 hours later, come back 8 hours later, huh? You seen it? I think there's a show on A&E called Crashly Knows Best. Every place Savannah went, when it came to someplace to where she was doing a talent show or she was doing a beauty contest, and these folks are white. He was there with his daughter. He made sure that she was dressed appropriately. She wasn't adorned in all this stuff that you can see her body and all that. Come on. So there is a way to do this properly. If you think your child has talent, you don't put your child in the lion's den and leave him there and think the lion is not going to have partake in it. Or when your daughter comes back and when you pick up your child and she seems to have the faraway look on her, and you don't ask her how things went and she say fine, just fine. You mean to tell me you was in company of one of the greatest superstars and all you could say it just went fine, and that don't ring a bell for you? Did some of these young girls think they know what they were doing? Sure, some of them thought they know what they were doing. Sure, some of them did. Still doesn't make what R. Kelly did right, and it still does not make him any less guilty. This man is a predator. And let's go all the way back to Aaliyah. Wait 1 second. Let me pull this next clip up here. Y'all talk amongst yourself there. Let me pull this next clip up here. Where we at here? First, let's get to the funny here. Hold on. Here we go. Here's the Boondocks.
He did urinate on this woman, but America urinated on R. Kelly. Oh. And if you let them put this man in jail, America will urinate on each and every one of you. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother.
Please, people, you saw the tape. The girl testified she was underage. You're not allowed to do that to a little girl. We have a videotape.
Go tell that to your white bitch. Mm-hmm.
But the girl was... prosecution rests.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, all that needs to be said is this.
with you people? Every famous nigga that gets arrested is not Nelson Mandela. Yes, the government conspires to put a lot of innocent black men in jail on fallacious charges. But R. Kelly is not one of those men. We all know the nigga can sing. But what happened to standards? What happened to bare minimums? You a fan of R. Kelly? You want to help R. Kelly? Then get some counseling for R. Kelly. Introduce him to some older women. Hide his camcorder. But don't pretend like the man is a hero. And stop the damn dancing. Act like you got some goddamn sense, people. Damn. Don't playing around here. Boo! Hey, you with the afro. Give it a rest. Beat it. Put the music back on. You stressing me, I did battle with ignorance today, and ignorance won. I admit that I'm often vexed at the behavior of my own people. Yeah, vexed is a good word.
I told you about messing with them white women.
You do what you can to help black folks, and they make you wonder why you even bother. But they're our people, and we gotta love them regardless. One thing for sure, though, can't blame this one on the white man.
That's right, folks. One thing's for sure. You can't blame this one on the white man. We created this monster, as you can see. This clip came our way in 2005. 2005. It is 2021. And R. Kelly just went to jail for the crimes he committed. How many years was this predator allowed to just do what he do? Now let's talk about Aaliyah. How was he able to marry Aaliyah? How was they able to get to the point to where a birth certificate was forged to where her age is different? At 15, that means that birth certificate, her age had to be at 18, or she had to, the age had to be moved up 3 years or better. And you mean to tell me her parents didn't ask what happened to where did you go that night? Where did you disappear to? What happened to you? You come back and you say you're married and you didn't, you didn't call the police? Because according to Aaliyah, the marriage was consummated that night. So literally, R. Kelly at 20-something, you had sex with a 15-year-old. No one found that unacceptable because Aaliyah was on the way to superstardom. So R. Kelly was allowed to get away with that. Imagine. R. Kelly would not be the superstar that he is, folks, if he was stopped then. So it'd be no question of who and what he is. The only reason anybody, as you saw the clip, that folks are hanging out talking about R. Kelly is this and R. Kelly's a genius. Damn his genius. If he was shut down when he married Aaliyah, when he had sex with Aaliyah, when he was courting Aaliyah, he would not have 16 some years to continue to do what he was doing. Who in the hell left the gate open for this man? And we got the nerve to be in front of a courthouse, because actually that clip you saw is actually what happened the day that R. Kelly was acquitted on those first set of trials, on those first set of charges. They were dancing in the street, celebrating. But yet there were still folks behind the scenes willing to feed the beast still. Let's take a look at. Let's dwell a little deeper into this subject, shall we? Here we go. Let me pull up another clip here. Just 1 second. Now this comes from, you would think, someone that knows him intimately, inside and out, have children with him, was married to him. Here we go.
Is the Rumor Report with Angela Yee on the Breakfast Club.
So listen up. Well, in New York alone, R. Kelly is facing up to 100 years in prison. That's 20 years for racketeering, 10 for each of his sex trafficking convictions, and his sentencing will take place in May. In the wake of all of that, his ex-wife of 13 years, Andrea Kelly, has spoken about her feelings after he was convicted, and here's what she had to say.
Well, I sit in a very difficult place because unlike the rest of his victims, I also share children with him. I was married to him, so I wear two hats. I wear the hat of a survivor and an advocate, but I also wear the hat of a mother and an ex-wife. So it's very difficult for me. I feel that my heart is in two places. My heart definitely goes out to the survivors and the courage that it takes to even come forward and tell the story. But my heart breaks as a mother because this is now the legacy that my children will have to deal with and their children's children. At the end of the day, you cannot walk away from your bloodline.
Yeah, I mean, I know she's a victim, but I'm sure she still has to want him to go to jail because she is a victim.
Yeah, she didn't say she didn't want him
That's
to go
what I
to
mean.
jail.
Yeah, but
I mean, even for
she said she wears
herself.
two hats, but she has to want him to go to jail. She's a victim. She's seen the things that he's done to these women and herself. So you got to want him to go to jail for a long time.
It was interesting to me that people were mad at her. Like,
Why?
she was responsible and she knew what was going on and not standing the things that she went through as well. She said at one point it was so bad she contemplated suicide at her lowest point. And when she was on The View, she talked about how she was physically and mentally abused while they were married. She said at one time he hogtied her in the bed, raped her, and then fell asleep without untying her. And she said she suffers from PTSD and she wants to help out other victims as well. Now, here's what else she had to say, because they do have, as far as when it comes to their daughters, even what is going to happen with that? Because, of course, you still, well, not of course, but that's a hard situation, right? If this is your dad, how do you feel? Here's what she said.
Your daughter, Joanne, said she still loved her father, but she felt she had to love him from a distance. And how does that relationship survive something like this?
Well, I can't answer for my daughter because, again, I can only speak to my journey as his ex-wife and a survivor and an advocate. But I think that goes to say with any child, it doesn't matter if your parents have a problem with drug addiction, you are still going to love them because they are a part of your DNA. You share blood with them. I also support my children in whatever they feel because at the end of the day, it's their father.
I think drug addiction is a whole lot different. But the problem is say R. Kelly is your father, and let's say he treated you fine, he treated you well. You never seen any of this. He did the things that a father's supposed to do, but then he has this other side. How do you deal with that? Do you still visit your dad that treated you well and supported you all your life, but you didn't know that side? Or do you say, nah, this was a nasty side, I don't want to be nowhere near this person?
I'm sure it's up to the individual.
Well, that does put the children in a dilemma, doesn't it? To know that your father was convicted of something, especially being a female child, to know that your father was convicted of something so hideous. How do you wrestle that in your mind to say, yes, I want to go visit my dad, or I want to ask my dad? How do you explain that to your daughter if she asks questions? Why did you do the things that you did? I'm sure that these two young girls, I'm sure they asked that. And again, like a lot of people want to blame Andrea, the ex-wife. Again, you hear some of the horrific stories that the woman went through as being married to R. Kelly. Sometimes, you get that, I guess what they call it, the Stockholm syndrome. That you've been abused so long and so much that you believe anything that you do will put you in jeopardy, or put your children in jeopardy. So you just kind of just roll with the punches. And again, I'm sure not to disrespect Andrea in any way, but I'm sure the lifestyle that R. Kelly was affording her and the children would have been hard to leave. You know, again, there's no telling all the reasons why she didn't say something that she didn't. She didn't say something. Maybe if she would have, but again, not only she was I won't say she was a participant, but you have to look at it. She was impregnated by this monster. And let's make no mistake about it, folks. Again, R. Kelly has some great music, but the music itself does not justify the life that he lived behind closed doors. And I don't see any way that he can confront his daughters with that. But again, you know, the daughters of the guy, what's his name? The guy that dressed up as a clown. I was just watching a documentary on that, and as they said, you know, especially the daughters of Sammy the Bull Guevara, as you see, a lot of these folks do reality shows behind stuff like that. You know, so you never know how someone reacts to certain situations. You know, you just never know. But I'm sure that the young children will have. I'm sure the girls themselves will have that to wrestle with for the rest of their life. But again, I think the mother is smart by saying, you know, I really can't answer for my children. I can only answer for myself.
Well,
yeah, that's a tough one.
And everybody handles that differently.
Because we can say what we want to say, but like, I would never. But you know, that's not your dad. He didn't. You know, she might not have known this side. R. Kelly might have did everything right as a father. Went to her games, supported her, helped her. You know, in her hardest times. But then he had this dark side that she didn't know about.
All right, now as far as Lisa Van Allen, she testified against him, and she also was in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. She was on with executive producer Tamara Simmons on Good Morning America, and here is what Lisa Van Allen had to say about R. Kelly's conviction.
It was awesome. I mean, you know, I almost cried because, you know, this is what I was looking for back in 2008. So I would say that I believe that the difference is this time around is that there is power in numbers. A lot of people came forward. It's a lot of women empowerment going on and, you know, things like that. So I would say that maybe the time just wasn't right back then.
And what do you do with R. Kelly's music at this point? You know, because do you separate the art and the person? Because he's created inspirational music that I'm sure has helped a lot of people through their life. But, you know, he's a monster. You know, same thing with the Cosby. Like, you know, when Cosby got locked up, but he's created so much art that has helped so many people. What do you do in that situation?
Speaking of Bill Cosby, his spokesperson, Andrew Wyatt, spoke to TMZ, and here is what he said about what Bill Cosby thinks at a time like this.
Oh boy. We talked about it today, and the first thing he said, he was like, look, the guy was railroaded. As he said that Gloria Allred did the same thing that she did with him. You parade women out, and you stir up the public sentiment to go against him. And that's what they did to R. Kelly. I see R. Kelly having a strong case on appeal. And I think when he gets to the appellate court and when he gets to the highest court in the land, I think we'll see a conviction overturned.
Yeah, sometimes Cosby and his representation should just be like, you know what, it's not my case, let me mind my business. It's totally two different things. You had doctors say that they knew R. Kelly had STDs and he was known giving it to other women. That he's known for, no, it's totally two different
things.
And
Andrew Wyatt had some more to say. As we said, this is Bill Cosby's spokesman about Bill Cosby. About R. Kelly.
This is an assault on successful black men who are doing great things. I think it's unfortunate that this man.
I tell you what, folks, let's pause that right there and let's actually pull up the actual comments that he said, because I got a lot to chime in on that. So let's pull those comments up there. Okay, wait a minute. Let me get this out of here. Let me get this out the way. Yeah, I don't see how you really compare the two, but what he's doing, he's actually, well, you'll see for yourself, and I'll make my comments on it. Let me go pull this particular. Let me go and grab this up here right quick, right? And actually, the next clip dives right into exactly what Bill Cosby. It calls Bill Cosby breaks his silence, and again, it coming from the comedy hype folks over there. A young lady, great reporting that she does here. So here we go.
R. Kelly's trial continued to come in, and it appears that everyone has something to say, including Bill Cosby. We reported yesterday that Kelly was found guilty on 9 counts, including bribery, sexual exploitation of a child, and sex trafficking. Well, it appears that TMZ recently caught up with Cosby spokesperson Andrew Wyatt and was asked what Cosby's thoughts were on the guilty verdict. Wyatt will also take several shots at attorney Gloria Allred, who represented the alleged victims of both R. Kelly and Cosby's case, and claimed that race was a key factor in Kelly's conviction. Today we have our comedy hype analyst, Pierre, calling in to give his reactions. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
We talked about it today, and the first thing he said, he was like, look, the guy was railroaded. As he said that Gloria Allred did the same thing that she did with him. You parade women out, and you stir up the public sentiment to go against him. And that's what they did to R. Kelly. And what we see in America today, you know, with R. Kelly is the assault on black men. It's unfortunate that this man, even before he was ever brought to trial, he wasn't given bond. He had to sit in jail. We see Harvey Weinstein, who was out on bond. We see the black and white issue. We see what's the assault on successful black men who have wealth. And that's what we're seeing today. And I think what black people have to do and fans have to do is say no to Gloria Allred and her racist tactics. We see she went after Shaquille O'Neal, Tiger Woods. She only go after black men who have money and success.
Now, Pierre, I want to bring it straight to you. After seeing that for the first time, what was your initial reaction to it?
You know, he's doing the lawyer talk for his clients. You know, he's going to say what he wants to say to make it seem like it is, you know, something that is, it isn't. First of all, let's be honest. Okay, black men do get railroaded in the system. Now, I understand that. We should fight against that. But every case is not that kind of case. So we need to stop humping all that kind of stuff on a particular situation. Black men always get railroaded. What R. Kelly did was foul. You know, I've heard people say some of the dumbest things to me where they'll say something like, he ain't raped all them girls. He ain't raped all of them. One is enough, okay? One is enough. So all this kind of stuff that he says. And then the lawyer said they paraded the women in front of him. Well, he's being charged with raping and molesting women. I mean, who he's supposed to parade in front of him? You know, trash collectors or some shit like that? Come on now. So you'll put the women in front of them. That's what you're supposed to do. You know, the people who are victimized, who claim to be victimized, they're put in front of him. So to say that Cosby got off, well, he got off not that he didn't rape nobody. It's because of technicality he got off. Let's be real about it. Cosby ain't free today because he's saying he's innocent. It's because of technicality is why he's innocent. They made a deal which they thought, you know, going to work. They put him in jail anyway. They recanted it. They changed it up. Now he got out. So that's the reason he's out. So to say that, and then the last thing he said, Gloria Allred, I know her. I mean, I've seen her. You know, I know her from seeing her on TV. He said she only goes after successful black men. Brother, I understand what you're trying to say, but she went after Scott Peterson. He ain't white. I mean, he ain't black. She went after Anthony Weiner.
All right, let me go ahead and like Pierre said right here, R. Kelly is guilty. Now, some people consider Gloria Allred an ambulance chaser, and it seems like that every time there's a high-profile case, and when it comes to, especially in the exploitation of a woman, that Gloria Allred head pops up. But folks, just like folks used to go to Johnny Cochran when it was time to, just like folks go to these two black lawyers here now, you want to go to the person that's most familiar with dealing with these situations. Now, is Gloria Allred an ambulance chaser? Do people go to her for these cases? Of course they do. She doesn't seek these people out. These people literally have to go there, have to sign paper to say, I want you to represent me. So don't shoot the messenger sometime because you don't like what she does, because you don't like that she went after R. Kelly. It's her job to go after R. Kelly. It's her job to go after Scott Peterson. It's her job to parade these victims, as they say, and I won't even use the word parade, to put these victims in front of their, well, let's back this up, to put the accusers, the people that are accusing you of doing something, to make sure that you get a fair trial. So that's what it says. You have the right to face your accusers. So R. Kelly, that's what's happening to you. They're not parading these women in front of you. It's the law. It's the Constitution law. There I go back to the Constitution again. But damn it, they say in the Constitution that before they convict you, you have a right to a jury of your peers, and you have a right to anyone that wants to bear witness against you. You have the right to confront them. So R. Kelly, what was you expecting? Are you guilty? You damn right you are guilty. You're not going to convince any sound person in their mind that all those charges, all those people that came through the court, because we don't know half of it, because a lot of it is too graphic for the masses to play. So I guess when it's all said and done, after he's been essentially sentenced and he gets put in jail for the rest of his natural life, because that's more than likely what's going to happen. Oh, they're going to throw the book at R. Kelly. Believe that. If he don't end up with a yard, he don't end up with nothing at all. Because let's face it, folks, he also has other charges that he still has to answer to. So guess what? Say that for the charges that he gets now, he gets 50 years. But as soon as he's finished those 50 years, there's no statute of limitation on those charges that are pending for him right there in another state. So they're going to get him there. So why go through another trial? Why go through all of this other stuff when you can just lock him up under the statutes and the 9, 10, 11 charges that you have against him now? Makes sense?
He ain't black. He went after Russ Limbaugh. He ain't black. The Britney Spears bodyguard. He ain't black. So many people she went after. She's a feminist. She goes against men who are doing wrong. So it's not a black and white thing. She's done white people and she's done black things. But you hear how he says. You watch it again. Listen what he says. He's trying to skirt to work with his clients. I get it. I'm down with protecting black men too. But let's do it to the right situations, not any situation.
Right. Were you surprised to see that Bill Cosby was somewhat in support of R. Kelly?
Hell no. Shit,
right.
Rapists want rapists to get off. Shit, it's rape culture. We want to help each other out. Not we as in me, but I don't pick nobody. But you get what I'm saying? Yeah, shit. No one wants to see a black man go to jail. It's hurtful to see black men going to jail. We don't want to see that. And sometimes people will say anything to help a black person, even if they're guilty. I get that. I've been guilty of that before. But when you stand back on a situation like that, come on, man. He knew what he did. And Cosby wants to fight for that black man, regardless what it is. What about all the victims? What are you saying to them, Cosby? The women who really got that, got put in a situation that were bad. And let's say some of those cases were real. What about the family? They had to deal with their daughter being molested or, having sex underage. What about that, Cosby? What do you say? Hey, it should happen. Have a Coke and a smile? No. Come on, man.
No, and I think you make perfect sense in that. Now, I do want to bring up a quote that his rep, Andrew Wyatt, did say in there. You kind of touched on it a little bit. So he says, this is an assault on successful black men. And pretty much, was trying to push forth that he feels this has a lot to do with race. So I want to ask you, do you think that race had anything to do the way that Bill Cosby and or R. Kelly, was placed in prison?
First of all, they put themselves in a position to even to happen, even for us to even put them in a position. Don't put yourself in a position, black man, to have that done to you. Let's just go with that first. The position. Don't put yourself in a position first. Now, after that, I personally think, they were guilty to some extent. I'm in the business. I've been behind the scenes. I've seen stuff almost transpire. I had to walk away from or move away from it. I've seen women, young girls go to men and all that kind of stuff. I've seen that. I've seen crazy orgy parties. I've seen all that kind of stuff. Stuff happens, yes. It does happen. But does it happen in consent all the time? No. Sometimes situations get put on and these young girls go in the position that they are in, and might get accosted or hopefully not, raped or whatever. That doesn't mean they deserve that, man. It's back to the adage of a woman wearing a mini skirt and showing her cleavage. Does she deserve to get pulled on and yanked on and raped and molested? Does she? No.
Pierre, you are absolutely right. And I agree with you. I feel as if, some people, I've also heard people say, oh, well, I don't think they did that many. And I agree. Like, how many does it take for you to say, okay, well, this person is guilty, regardless of how many or whatever it is? One person is enough.
Well, it's obvious in R. Kelly's idea, folks. It was more than one person, because as you see over this years from 2005, and as long as R. Kelly has been in the business, this is something that he's been continuing to do. So it's not like it's uncommon to him. This is the life that he would have continued to lead until someone put a stop to it. Now, again, they say that these women were paraded in front of him. Now, again, like Pierre said, don't put yourself in that situation. Me, as a grown man, I can deduce the difference between a woman and a child. regardless of whether there's a child that somehow or the other she got a hold of a fake ID, or she got a hold of this, or she got a hold of that, and whatever, and she put herself in a position to where she's wanting to act like a grown woman. You have the moral responsibility. You can look at, even though through the makeup and all that, you still can look at the physical feature of any person and kind of guess and gauge at what age they are. A 13-year-old girl cannot hide herself, no matter how much makeup she put on. A 14-year-old girl cannot hide herself, no matter how much makeup she put on. Now, are there some women, ready? Are there some women out there that can and do make themselves appear to be younger or older than they naturally and then they are, or then they appear to look? Yes, that does happen. But again, most of us as men, with the correct moral compass, we can deduce the difference between a grown woman and a child, regardless of whether the alcohol is in play or not. Because you're not going to tell me as a grown man or as a man that for most of you that lived in this world, that's been out there, that you haven't been in some situations that some of these, as they call them, loose ass, fast ass young girls decide that they want to get out to the clubs. And you know that they're young. You know they're not supposed to be there, but because a little thing that says that they're 21 or they're 18, they're able to slip through the cracks. And unfortunately, there's guys out there that prey on these young girls. Unfortunately, too many times that we hear of mothers, single mothers, that so-called themselves, that bring their boyfriends into their house, and the boyfriend ends up molesting the young girl or the young boy that's in the house. I got plenty of those. Actually, folks, I'm starting to get back into the swing of things. So I will be reporting on a lot more of this debauchery we have going on in our community. There's no need to talk about the white community because we know what they're capable of. We need to start exposing folks like R. Kelly. Come on, folks. Think about if he was exposed 16 years ago. We wouldn't be talking about R. Kelly. We trying to give R. Kelly a pass and the folks around him a pass based on a collection of music that he put together. And you heard what they say, it's hard to sort of separate the man from the music because he's given us so much inspirational music. Well, if you look at the music as a whole, we don't want to listen to some of Luther Vandross's songs once we found out that he wasn't singing to women, he was singing to men. He was singing to Freddie Jackson. So a lot of women stopped listening to Freddie Jackson because they found out he was gay. But a lot of women won't stop listening to R. Kelly because they found out he's a pedophile. No, it's some of the music that's connected to R. Kelly that has other artists. Will I play them? Of course I will, because I'm a radio station. But me personally, to put on an R. Kelly song, nah, not personally. I won't. If I have any on my jukebox, I will remove them. You know, I have the right to play what artist that I want to play. Not to say that R. Kelly is that the people around him, some of the music that he did with Pharrell and some of the other music that he's done with other other artists that we don't know about. You know, there's no way that you can completely remove yourself if you're an R&B artist or an R&B DJ or whatever, and you play old school music from the 80s and the 90s and some in the 2000s. That you really can separate yourself from R. Kelly because he has his hand extensively in a lot of music. But that still does not take away from what he did, folks. Still does not take away from the monster that he is.
Person is enough for you to be considered guilty, but for you to say, oh, because you think, you know, it's not 20 or it's not, you know, 15, whatever the case may be, is a little bit ridiculous. So it's.
And I understand we don't want to see our black leaders or entertainers or even our, black men go down. We don't want to see it, but we also have to be honest with ourselves. And these people have to take responsibilities for their actions and for the things they did. A lot of times the people abuse the situation they're in. Trust me, maybe people out there don't realize that. You're not behind the scenes, but they abuse their power. And I think in this case with Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, there was some abuse. Okay, you don't want to say every situation, fine, but one abuse is enough. If that was your sister, your mother, and they abused her, Would you say, well, it's only her, they ain't abused a whole bunch of other people? You wouldn't say that. You want justice for your sister or your mother or your aunt or whatever it could be. You know what I'm saying? And so I think Bill Cosby got lucky. The technicality was what it was. Yes, let him go on. That what he did in his past will not happen again in his future. I get that. R. Kelly, he has to stand, letter of the law. Like I've always said, I don't believe in throwing the key away on R. Kelly, but I do believe he should do some time.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned earlier, our system does fail our black men and black women, but in certain cases, that's just not the case. And like you said, this case is not one of those. So, Pierre, as always, I appreciate you calling in and giving your input. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts about Bill Cosby somewhat supporting R. Kelly? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Well, again, Tiffany, I really don't agree with Bill Cosby's statements. I think everything stands on its merit. I want to read. Let me put this. Let me see if I can get this comment on the screen here. Let me see what you're talking about here, Dominic. Let's see. Can I get this comment on the screen here? Okay, from Dominic Harris, he puts on the screen. Nobody gave R. Kelly a pass, but it's clear that the government set new precedent, statute of limitations, that is, hearsay, double jeopardy, non-credible witnesses, and inconsistent testimony to convict R. Kelly. Well, again, Dominic, you are entitled to your opinion. I don't think that that the jury saw it that way. Again, was a case of double jeopardy on a lot of things. No, I think what really happened to R. Kelly is the mere fact that a lot of people saw the movie, the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, and a lot of things that was said in that movie. It's the only part that I think that was unfair to R. Kelly. A lot of things that was done in that movie was used against him in a court of law, and I think they should have been stricken from the record just based on because it seemed biased against R. Kelly, and that was one of the things. You can't say that folks didn't see things in its entirety. And again, one young lady gets on TV and she says that R. Kelly didn't do anything. Some of the things that she did do, and then once the trial starts, it's a completely different scenario. So did R. Kelly get a fair trial? I would think that he did. Was there some credible witnesses? I think there was enough. Was there some witnesses that was just there for the follies of saying that they were part of the trial? Yes, I agree with you on that. But for the most part, I think the witnesses that did testify, some of the doctors that testified of some of the STDs that he passed on to women, which can be verified. There's no way around that particular science. There's no way around that. So I don't. A lot of the testimony, I don't think they testimony that I don't think that convicted him just on verbal testimony. I think they convicted him on a lot of different things. So much so that they used this thing of racketeering to blanket all the things that they thought that he did. You have to look at it though. It's been a history of him. And again, the reason why I say that R. Kelly's guilty, because you have to call a spade a spade. At some point in time, he had to know that Aaliyah was underage, and he continued that pattern of dating younger women. If you saw that video that I saw of that young girl, you will know that when you saw that young lady naked, that she was not a fully developed woman. Regardless of whether she had the moves, regardless, it seemed like that she knew what she was doing. The mere fact of the matter is that R. Kelly knew that that woman was underage. And thank you for your comment there, Dominic. Appreciate that, woman. All right, there, folks, and let's move on to the next subject here. Let's see what else I got on tap for you here. Hold on just 1 second. I think I have one more thing dealing with R. Kelly. If not, we're gonna slide on over to them YouTube streets. No, actually, I'm not listening to Pierre. I think what I've done, Dominic. I think I've done enough research on it that I'm only going by when I say Pierre is. When I say Pierre is, he touches on some of it. Do I completely agree with him? No, I really don't agree with him. And I don't think Bill Cosby got off on a technicality. No, I don't. I think in this case, I think Bill Cosby was completely railroaded. That's one of the big things that I disagree with about Pierre, that he conflated the two. Whereas we know why Bill Cosby was charged with some of the things that he was charged. Bill Cosby was trying to do some big things, so they had to find a way to shut him down, i.e., trying to buy into a media company that kind of governed what people saw on a day-to-day basis. So Bill Cosby somehow or the other had to be shut down. Again, you had several witnesses that came forth that were completely discredited. One being Janice Dickinson. We know what kind of person she was. We saw what kind of person she was, and then she later came back later on and admitted that she lied. What happened to Bill Cosby to me, is just a small microcosm of what happens to black men all over the country. And unfortunately, Bill Cosby used his platform to try and justify what R. Kelly did, and there's no comparison in the two. R. Kelly is guilty of what he's been accused of. Just my humble opinion, and according to the jury. But in this case, do I think Bill Cosby? I think what happened in the 70s is what they used to do. Just like the young kids these days, they smoke weed when they how do you do it when they say they do Netflix and chill? They smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? It's about time to get to them YouTube streets, that sharp. They smoke weed and different things like that, my man. So I think it's just during the time of whatchamacallit. And I'll go back to this, just like with Mike Tyson. I would say this about Mike Tyson. You know, if a woman comes to your hotel at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, she's not there to drink coffee. And the same thing with Bill Cosby. These women were coming to these hotels, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. During that time, they was doing what they were doing. You know what I mean? They were doing what they were doing. What can I say? But I know what happened to Bill Cosby over the past couple of years. To me, he should have never went to jail. Yeah. So if that answers your question, my man. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I thought you were talking about Pierre as far as R. Kelly was concerned, but Pierre as far as Bill Cosby is concerned, I don't think he should have even conflated the two. Bill Cosby should have not put himself in play with this particular case. There's other cases that Bill Cosby could have chimed in on, but this shouldn't have been one of them. If that answers your question. Now, folks, let's I know we're getting close to the ending time here, so let me get to these YouTube streets, as they say here. Hold on just one second. Let me pull up something here, and let's see what I'm gonna do here. I gotta pull it up. Video. I gotta go to a completely different screen here, folks. So y'all excuse me just one second. I know I'm trying to find it here. I got so many things going here. There we go. Well, folks, as I said before, a lot of times I sit back and I just go to these different streams and I listen to what the young brothers and the young sisters are talking about. But for the most part, this stream that I was on the other day, the reason why I wanted to go back and record this particular part of the stream is to show you exactly, folks, that sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Now, here it is, instead of these guys, putting out information. I'm not saying that I'm the guru of information, but I mean, I would much rather talk about the things that affecting us as a whole than it's to sit on a stream and argue with somebody about whether you call that woman pretty or not. Okay. And I'm not certainly not one of those guys that say that I'm one of these folks that's making six figures and I can say what I want to say or do I can do what I want to do. And then when it comes to YouTube, you should bow down to me, or vice versa, this, vice versa, that. But you guys listening to this stream here that I recorded just about 15 minutes of it. So we're going to pop it and stop it and pop it when need be necessary. All right.
No, Nigga Man, you said, young man, you told me the last time you was on here that you, O'Shea, and Arsidian was goddamn effective. What laws have y'all changed, nigga? The white boys doing it. Even white women.
Man, hold up, man. You ain't gonna come up here caping for white people, man. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck what they did, man.
No, this is about power. The problem with you niggas, you worrying about pussy too goddamn much. Instead of worrying about power and shit.
Hey,
you
nigga.
worry about goddamn, no, shut the fuck up.
Hey,
what?
Hey, shut your stupid.
No, how about those? You shut the fuck up.
Shut your dumb ass up, nigga.
No. Am I telling the truth or not, nigga? What laws have y'all changed from the black ministry, nigga?
Hey, I tell you what.
No, answer the question.
Tell you what
laws have y'all changed,
hey,
nigga?
Big J.
Answer the question.
Big J, I got time
today,
Angry
nigga.
Man. I got time today, nigga. Check this out. Check
No,
I'll
check.
cash app you.
All right,
I'll
Sexy
cash
Red,
app
thanks for
you.
coming up.
I will cash app you the
Why
fucking
Sexy
flight,
Red?
the fucking ticket right now.
Whoa.
Face to face, nigga.
Hold on. Time out.
No. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you? I got to ask you. Why would you want to send someone a plane ticket, not knowing the size of the dude, the stature of the dude, whether he owns a black belt in karate? Well, you know he can't get on the plane with a gun, so you do have that in your favor. But why would you knowingly pay for somebody to fly across country to possibly whip your ass? But this is what he does. This is so-called the leader of the manosphere right here, folks. The angry man on a stream. And this is what this goes on from this is just a small example of what goes on behind some of these streams. Sometimes they talk about nothing. They have nothing of substance to talk about. They talk all about the girls, or you got a bunch of grown men right now. It's on this screen. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 grown men on a stream about to start arguing with each other. Well, 2 of them are really not arguing with each other. But Big J and Angry Man are about to go at it. And simply because Angry Man got upset, I'm starting to sound like what's his name, GMT. The Angry Man got upset that Big J Triple X said that a woman was cute. How about that, folks? The good old Angry Man, Juan Valdez. Manuel Dudley. I feel like the Nutty Professor. Anyway, folks, I thought we'd get a kick out of this.
About nothing, bitch ass nigga. Shut your bitch ass up.
What's he screaming at?
Shut your ass up.
Your ass was weak, nigga.
Yo, you weak.
I told you was weak, nigga.
I'm Parkside in this bitch. I'm Parkside in this bitch. You fuck ass Dale's having ass nigga.
Do you want the ticket?
This is a rolling anger moment, nigga.
Do you want the ticket?
What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Do you want the ticket?
What? Do you want the
plane
ticket, nigga? Do you want the
I got
plane
them plane tickets.
Man, fuck you and that plane ticket. Yeah, that's what I thought. Now you can shut the fuck up, nigga. Now you can shut the fuck up, nigga. No, nigga. You came for me in the chat room, nigga. You came for me in the chat room. But guess what? I've been told you, nigga. I've been told your bitch ass that you a low-ranking ass nigga. You in that motherfucking cupcake talking about shit. No, you butthurt. You butthurt. You butthurt, nigga. You. Sexy red you. With you, Angel Ramirez. Oh, punk ass Angel Ramirez. He ain't shit his own goddamn self. You Rico Suave. Hey, yo,
Rico Suave.
Can anybody do me a favor and get this nigga out of a time warp? This nigga still talking about 2016. You do know it's 2021, don't you, nigga? Wait a minute. You niggas argue the way, no, you niggas argue. You act like it's still 1997, nigga. Let me find out how some of you niggas argue. Y'all think Bill Clinton still president shit. You're out there talking about some. Let me find out your brain stutters too, nigga. Say what? Let me find out your brain is stuttering too, nigga. It's not 2016, it's 2021, nigga. But guess what, nigga? You act like though it's 1975 and shit. The way you niggas talk, man. The black woman won't let me leave. The black woman won't submit. Who gives a flying fuck? Who the fuck talks about that? Who gives a flying fuck? Wait a minute. Maybe it's y'all though who fucking lame. How about that shit? Y'all fucking lame. Number one, nigga. No, number one, nothing. Number one, nothing. Watch my fucking Number one, nothing. Mr. Cinco de Mayo having ass nigga. Mr. Cinco de Mayo having ass nigga. Man, shut your Cinco de Mayo having ass nigga. Motherfucker, I knew you was in this motherfucker simping for pussy, nigga. Simping for who? Simping for who? Simping for who? That's why you just said what you just said, nigga. Yo,
You see, that's one thing I never understood about these guys that say that. You know, let me. I'm gonna speak to the women. I put the link down in the chat room if anyone wants to come up during this particular segment right here. I don't understand why these guys would think that you women that are in these panels are so hard up that a guy could say anything to you and you're ready to give up the draws. Yeah, there has to be, when they say these guys are simping for they're simping for the coochie, there has to be a willing participant on the other end. I think that most of these women that come on these panels, if they put their true picture up there, they're putting their picture up there for a reason. Because, you know, hey, maybe, you know, I'm just putting my picture up there. If someone thinks I'm cute, no big deal. If you see somebody in a grocery store and you walk past a woman, you say, hey, damn, you looking good. What's wrong with that? That don't necessarily mean you want to sleep with her. You just acknowledging the fact that she's a pretty woman. I don't understand that. I don't see why they think guys fault. Why some guys when they give a woman a compliment, they're automatically trying to get with them, trying to sleep with them. I see pretty women every day. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy for folks to think so. I'm sure there's thousands of women, pretty women on the YouTube streets. But just because you acknowledge that fact, that don't necessarily make you a simp. That don't necessarily make you, that don't necessarily make you, dare I use the word, a pussy mongrel. And again, like I say to the women, how low do the folks that say that, how low do you think, how low of a self-esteem that some of these men think you women have, that a guy can just come up, see your avatar, and all of a sudden you don't see him as taking in this case like Big J right here, all you see is Big J triple X. Now you think one of these ladies on the stream gonna fall out of their way to say, hey, you meant what you said when you said I was cute? Can I come get you? No, I don't know what goes on in there. That's why they call it the back chat. I don't know what's going on back there. If you develop a relationship with somebody in the back chat, that's on you. But no, it's not simple. Just simply say, hey, I think you're cute. And that's what this whole argument is about right here. This is the premise of Angry Man's, I guess, but again, with the right name, this is the premise of his whole argument. This is what they're complaining about right now. The mere fact that right before he came on, Big J said that one of the girls that was on the stream was pretty. And Angry Man, no other way, decided the best way for him to get at Big J was to say he's simping for some coochie. God came on the stream so mad that he offered up some plane tickets for Big J to take a flight to come fight him. Who does that? Are you a grown ass man? Hey there, Shaw Willie. Got Shaw Willie up on the panel. You want to lean in on this YouTube street thing right quick, like?
Yeah, Big J is that's my YouTube crush.
Uh-oh. I told you, Big J ain't no joke. Turn that mic down.
Yeah, I've been seeing he got some hair on his chest.
Hair.
Well, young man.
Hair. Hair. He got an afro on his chest. He said, "Who cares, nigga?" Hold up, folks. That's why I played this. I'm sorry, but Big J, you're kind of funny in this. You can probably hear me in the background laughing as I was recording this because I didn't want to I didn't want to download a 5-hour stream to get 15 minutes of good quality laugh. So I just I was dying. If you want to hear the rest of this in its entirety, folks, you got to go over to Aunt T's stream. Big shout out to Aunt T. Appreciate you having me up there the other day, but Lord have mercy. Let's get back to it. Shaw, you want to lean in this before I start playing it again?
No.
All right, here we go, folks.
Guess what? Why you have a problem if you not simping for pussy? So now though it's wrong for me to compliment. If you not simping for pussy, nigga, if you ain't simping for pussy, nigga, why the fuck do you got a problem? Why do you have a problem with the woman's cute complaining about? She's cute because her ass is cute. Nigga, shut your stupid ass up, nigga. If you ain't got a problem, explain that word simping, bitch. Explain the word simping, bitch. Explain the word simp, bitch. Motherfucking ass. I ain't trying to have sex, you fuck ass nigga. If you ain't no simp, answer this one question, nigga. Why you got a problem with black men complaining about black women if you ain't? Because it's not.
Does that make sense? Why you got a problem with black men having a problem with black women and calling them out their name? Why you got a problem with that? You of all people. He ain't the only one. Angry man.
Wow. What does that have to do with him saying, the woman was beautiful?
Right, that's what he came up on the panel for. This is exactly what he came up. And you hear him saying, if you ain't simping for coochie, why would you say that? And then this whole argument makes no sense to me. And if you go farther back into it, I didn't listen, I didn't record the whole thing, but if you go farther back in and listen to the stream, you will hear, I guess they call her, I'm sure we're all familiar with the Trinity time travel. Ask Big J, what is the one thing that you have against Angry Man? And he says, because Angry Man came on a panel and disrespected him and disrespected his guests. Well, I would have that problem too. I would have that problem too, and I think I've gone to that before. I think when I do have streams to where I have folks on them, one of the things I do say when I used to have them like that, you're not going to get on a panel and disrespect anyone that I bring on. No, I'm not going to have that. So I don't see anything wrong. I don't see anything wrong with Big J having a problem with that, if that it is. But it sounds just a little bit deeper to me, and you'll see exactly what it is a little bit later. It'll come out. Oh, okay. It'll come out. Shut your bitch ass up.
F you and your plane ticket.
Right. Got them plane tickets. Angry man, I'm gonna say this. I think I said this before, my man. You better stop issuing them decrees the way you're gonna buy some plane tickets, because somebody gonna take you up on that one day. It seems to me you always inviting somebody to beat you up or to get beat up. Who gonna do that? Yeah. I'm in South Carolina. I'm gonna catch a plane to North Carolina to get beat up. What kind of sense does that make?
I just want to know, how does that settle it? Because I know men do fight, but that's normally when they're younger. But I don't understand how that's going to settle a disagreement.
It's not
A difference in opinion. I like vanilla ice cream, you like chocolate, let's fight. I don't get
Right.
that.
You put your chocolate in my peanut butter. You
You
put your
put
peanut butter in
peanut
my
in my
chocolate.
chocolate.
Right. Two great tastes together. Reese's peanut butter cup. Except we got a couple of damn nuts. Yeah. Tell you, I feel like the nutty professor today. Here we go. Get them plane tickets.
Because it's not a source of power,
No,
nigga.
you a bitch ass nigga, that's why.
You worry about pussy and not about power. That's the problem. You worry about pussy and not about power. You worry about pussy and not about power. It's about power. It's about power.
If somebody get hit with a stiletto.
It's about power, nigga. P-O-W-E-R, nigga. Power, bitch. Power, bitch.
See what you did?
Power, nigga. That's what it's about. It's about power. Something you don't need to understand, nigga. Power, nigga. You got power, nigga. You don't got power. That's the point. That's the point with you. That's the point with Mr. Fantastic. That's the point with goddamn O'Shea.
God damn, Big J, man. You got that mic all the way up, bro.
That's the point.
You's a bitch ass nigga.
You help, nigga. Hey, black man, you free out of jail. Nigga, your hand.
Look, all that cursing out Big J. The only comeback he could come back with it. You was a bitch ass nigga. Oh Lord. He didn't call Angry Man everything except a child of God. The only thing he could come up with, he was a bitch ass nigga. Damn, Angry Man. Say it again. 1-800 Big J. Call him up. That's like Roto-Rooter. All your trouble's going down the drain. Call Big J up. Here we go, folks. I'm sorry. Oh, my side hurting.
Nobody. None, nigga, man. We ain't helped not one black man out of jail, nigga. We ain't helped not one black man out of jail. You got, hold on, let me say this right now. You got, man, hold on, you got the goddamn, you can go to any Walmart. They had missing, the missing kids thing on the panel. They showed nothing but black boys on. How come the black men ain't talking about the miss black boys and shit? I don't know, explain that shit, Mr. Angry Bitch. Hold on. You finished explain that shit. Explain that shit, nigga. No, explain that shit.
Tighten up that.
No, explain that shit. Explain it.
Tighten up that.
Explain it.
Helmet right before you hurt.
Explain it. Oh, I want you to explain it. I want you to explain it. I want you to explain it.
Explain what, nigga?
No. Explain why. Hold on. David Johnson, I slapped the holy fuck out your bitch ass. You know I do that shit to you. I'm not having that.
What, nigga? Explain.
No, you ain't doing goddamn.
Wait, damn, Big J. He all down in the peanut gallery. Hold up. David Johnson. He's like, hold up.
He's like, I handle you. My money's on Big J.
Yeah, right now. I'm sorry, Big J cleaning the house right now. Listen, he was like, wait a minute, is that nigga talking to me? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Help me.
Angry man. But you're loud mouth nigga. Hold on. How come though, man? You come on here talking about you're effective, nigga. Then how in the fuck you talking about jealousy and shit when you were jealous of Kevin Samuels, nigga? When old boy was in the chat room, when you went after Kevin Samuels because Kevin Samuels was pumping up goddamn O'Shea. Explain it. Explain it.
Let me ask you a question.
Explain it, big angry man.
He got him with that one, didn't he? He was right.
Okay. Okay, I was wondering. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he was right, wasn't he? Because he went on a book signing tour. Anybody who would listen, he was complaining about Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels this. Kevin Samuels is not the manosphere. I'm the beating on his chest. Anybody who would listen. He ought to be out of breath. I know I am. Damn near am. Shit. Don't do that no more. Damn, angry man. Let me. Somebody get me some oxygen.
Help me, somebody.
Help me. Help me, Jesus Lord. I'm sweating. Jesus Lord help me. That's what they sound like. Remember Eddie Murphy said, I'm halfway down now, Lord. Jesus Christ. My shoe. Jesus Lord help me, please, God. All right, let's go back to playing that. I'm sweating. Who is hot in here?
Explain it, nigga, man. Explain it, nigga, man. Nigga, I can't explain shit to you. Shut the fuck up. No. You got, you know what? You ain't credible to have anything to explain about. You like nothing to explain about, bitch. Nigga.
Oh yeah, yo, Big J, bro, you told him to explain it, man. Let him explain it.
How the fuck you ain't shit? You ain't explaining shit on this motherfucker. That's what you needed.
Hold up, hold up. Big J. Yeah, I'm bringing you back up, man. You tell him to explain it, man. Let the man explain it, man. Y'all gonna go back and forth. Y'all can go back and forth, bro. But come on.
That nigga's a whole woman. He don't know. No, a whole woman, dude. Look, how the fuck you call someone a whole woman with you're a woman, the one walked in your room and told you to shut the fuck up. Your woman got up in your room during the live stream and told your black ass to shut the fuck up.
Yep, she sure did. And you know what? He about to deny that. Like, we can't go back. Like, folks don't have that evidence. What they call it? Short receipts?
Yeah.
Like, folks don't have the receipts of that actually happening, that your girl came in there. I don't remember it verbatim, but I've heard enough to say, I think she said, I got to go to work, and I already worked a full shift. I already worked a 13-hour shift, and I got to get up in a few more hours. You don't seem to care, something like that. And he was on the stream. Am I right? Something close to that, Short?
Yeah, Jim T had played that. That's
Yeah. So yeah, she did, but she wasn't completely rude. But basically, what she was telling you, it's too early in the morning for you to be on here making all this damn noise when I got to get up to go to work tomorrow. She was chest thumping that night, and she had titties. I don't know if it sounded like that, but seeing to me, both of y'all got titties. Yeah, a MWT, a man with titties. He tried to hide it. He got titties and he got a gut. Y'all seen him? Remember that picture? He was standing up. I seen a picture of him standing up with a t-shirt on. He looked like he had titties. Mm-hmm. Better go back and get that. You better put that weight training belt back on.
How come your woman got on live and told you to put that shit down, nigga?
Hey, Big J, that's a question. Now let him answer.
Hold on for a second. Did you get on the live stream and tell me to shut the fuck up?
Yes.
No, I said your woman.
Hold up. He talking to his woman right now.
Told your ass to shut the fuck.
Big J, he got his woman right there. So let him talk to his woman. He got his woman right there. So check.
And nobody find that unusual. I don't understand that. Here you are arguing with a grown man, but you gonna get your woman to help you in the fight. That's what a masculine mercenary does. Shit, if all else failed, let me go grab my chick. I'm just saying, better live chicken than dead duck, I guess. I'm just saying, angry man. That was not no baller move right there. Boss talk radio. No, that wasn't no boss move. That was how do you say? Dare I say it? That's a bitch ass move.
Up, bro.
You
Watch.
told me to get on the stream. You got on the stream. You came in my room while I was on the stream and told me to shut the fuck.
Plausible denial. We heard the receipts.
You're a
We got
liar,
receipts.
BJ.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You're a liar.
No, I'm not. Everybody heard that shit. What the
Yep,
fuck you
we all
talking
did.
about?
I never said that.
Well,
You're lying.
who came on the room and told Angry Man to pipe down and shit?
Nobody. Oh, now you pipe down?
Oh, really? Did it happen around Christmas, didn't it?
No, it didn't.
Oh, really? Oh, now somebody gonna sit here and actually gonna sit and say some shit. Everybody heard Angry Man.
They know somebody. That's this woman right there, man.
No, Angry Man was told, Auntie, you wasn't even here when this shit happened.
You're right. I'm just listening to what his woman just said right now. I wasn't here for it. You're right.
Some of us heard that shit.
She said it.
Yeah, but guess what? The people in the chat room actually heard it. So I'm not the only one saying this shit. I'm not just making up shit. I wouldn't be saying it. I wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't true.
You know what you're doing, bro? What you're doing is you're going around spreading rumors you heard from somebody else.
I'm not ready to press the bad guy, dude. I don't spread the rumors and shit. It's what happened on your live stream, dude. I ain't ready to bad guy go out there and spread rumors and shit. So you can pop that on that shit,
That's
man.
what you doing, bro. Look, let me ask you a question, Big J. Since you talking about old girl over here was cute, where's your woman at?
None of your goddamn business where my woman at.
You ain't got no woman, you fucking ham having ass nigga.
If I'm gonna call him a cute, if I call a woman ugly, nigga, that'll make your ass happy. If I call her ugly, no, shut the fuck up, bitch ass nigga, and actually answer the question. If I would call her ugly, would that make you happy, nigga?
No, what would make me happy is if she actually gave you something so you can stop stuttering.
I ain't trying to have sex with Red. I ain't trying to have sex, nigga.
Nigga, get it the fuck out.
If I say people woman, I say people woman. So therefore, for me, that seemed like some homosexual.
Yo, I didn't even know.
Shit.
Hey,
no, hold on. You advocating for some suspect shit. If I see a woman who's cute, I'll say she's cute.
Big J.
Is that a crime?
Hey, Big J.
Is that a crime in these United States? That is all for a heterosexual man to call a woman cute?
Yay.
Is it a crime? And Driller, shut your bitch ass up in that chat room. Back to you,
He don't miss nothing.
So therefore, is it a crime for a heterosexual man?
Yo, Big J, just growl out, just bow out gracefully, bro, because you just
got it. I would never take advice from a nigga who put his hand on his grandma. So I didn't shut the fuck up, dude.
Big J, I didn't even know they still made stuttering niggas.
Well, I didn't know, man. They actually made a secret to mind Negroes like your ass, nigga.
See, I've always questioned his nationality. I'm not the only one. No disrespect, but I don't see you as a Manuel Dudley, Valdez. I'm sorry, but I guess your chick said it, so I make it so. Sure, you want to lean in on anything so far?
It just really doesn't pay to argue because
don't.
For me, my tolerance level, it was funny for a minute because Big J is rising up, and I'm like, okay, go ahead. But after he made his point, and then the mocking, and then the lying, and all, now it's like, okay, I had enough of this because it's not true.
Yeah. I understand. It was funny when I was listening to it last night, but I'm hearing it for the third time now. It's like, oh Lord, how much of this could you stand?
Yeah, I would have went on left the panel.
Yeah. Oh, my fault.
Number one, Auntie was man enough to say, "Oh, my bad," but this nigga still going on like a fucking bitch, man. Respect.
That's all I'm saying, bro. I'm like, my bad, because you're right.
Man, who in the fuck, man, you calling a bitch when you been bitching for fucking 5 goddamn
goddamn years on YouTube on some stupid ass shit.
Hey, Big J,
Bro, that tells me though you and O'Senior, you and O'Senior are a bunch of bitches. Yeah, I said it. Y'all bunch of bitches because you, like, how the fuck though, man? You want people to respect you, but you don't show no fucking power. Explain that shit.
Big J, I will kick your fucking ass, nigga.
Do it then. Fuck, do that shit then.
Hey, if
you're a funky bitch, then fucking do that shit.
You want to
how many times though, man, you made a threat on YouTube and nobody got their ass kicked yet? No.
He right. How many times have we heard him make that offer them plane tickets and ain't nobody got beat up yet?
Well, you know, that's a stream. I mean, everyone does that.
Right.
No
right.
one shows up except
nobody shows up, and from what I understand,
the only
right
that I know that shows up.
right. Okay.
No,
all right, angry man. You in the over column when it comes to that showing the issuing out tickets and not showing up.
How many dress though you make, angry man, and nobody asses haven't kicked yet? Dang. Oh, he whines and complains about Harry.
Listen to this cool.
Come on, bro. You gonna sing over a nigga, man? Chill out.
Yo, listen to this cool.
He ain't gonna do a goddamn thing.
This is a whole minstrel show.
Oh, angry man is not gonna do a goddamn thing. Oh, he goes on YouTube. And he pitches
God damn.
Hold on.
Big J, you gonna sing over him? Come on, man.
Wrote a song like to hear about it. Here it go. Oh, angry man ain't gonna do. It's called the goddamn thing. Oh. Every great artist got to have a signature that he can go to. I guess Big J is gonna be. Oh, that's a word right there. I'm gonna write that down. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, angry man ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it sounds like a soundbite. I can't take it.
Let's finish this, folks.
For a minute.
You got it
for a minute. Angry man goes on YouTube and complains and makes 6 figures. Big J go on YouTube and complains for free.
Oh, that's a goddamn lie. That nigga don't make no 6 figures.
No. The song is everybody on YouTube makes 6 figures.
Everybody. Well, folks, I wanted to entertain y'all for the rest of the evening. So if you want to go back and revisit this, of course, I don't have no reason to take it down. You're gonna have to learn the last. If you want to put some more lyrics onto that song made famous by Big J Triple X. You can check it out right there. I think there's a little bit more of this that we can play. So let's go right ahead. But you hear that, angry man? Stop telling folks that you're making 6 figures, bro. GMT, the Grandmaster Troll, already showed us that you don't. Not only GMT, there's too many people that done broke it down. First of all, 6-figure niggas do not go out and buy Camaros. Second of all, 6-figure niggas do not go to the ATM machine and pull out some ducks and show everybody. Third of all, 6-figure niggas do not live in apartments that they renting. Okay, apparently both of y'all, you said you and your chicks is 6-figure. Everybody, what the hell are you doing in an apartment paying rent? 6-figure nigga, my ass. This mother.
Talk about that, Big J.
What power do angry men have?
Exactly.
Oh, what power does angry men have? Because he has nothing to do but
complain.
You complain
about
these hair has
Oh, really? I have no power.
He complains
Bro, can you
about these black women.
Yeah, dog. Hey.
That's right, folks. That's exactly what he does. And as you can go to his whatchamacallit again, I tried to wrap this. We're gonna wrap this up with a little bit of entertainment. Again, you can't argue with what the man says. Angry man, I hate to put you on blast like that, bro, but that's what you are. You're an easy target. You're an easy target for a Saturday afternoon laugh. Saturday afternoon get along. You run around here telling folks you're a six-figure nigga on the internet. You know, I don't even think you make four figures. Stop lying. I know I'm not no six-figure nigga, and I don't get on the radio station or these YouTube streets saying anything different. You got mad at a dude because he called somebody cute. Really? You ain't got nothing else to argue with or about. Stop it. Y'all heard about the rest of it. Shar, before we leave out of here, anything you want to let the folks know?
Article reaction, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight.
That's right, folks. That's right. A good show last night on the Conversations with Shar, and coming up at, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central.
That is correct.
Articles reaction right here on these YouTube streets, folks. Y'all check it out. With a co-host, Classic Ruby. I'm sure y'all have a good time. I know I'll be there. But for right now, it's time for us to get on up out of here, folks. We'll be back next week, Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel. We're gonna do it all over again with some, the Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon chop shop. Make sure y'all tell all your friends, like, share, and subscribe. And if you feel like it, go ahead and support the stream. Appreciate it, folks. Everybody have a good day. Shar, you want to say one more thing before we get on up out yet?
Peace.
All right, y'all. Y'all peace and have a great day. Thank y'all so very much.